Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. Of course, this week joined by my awesome crew here, Boxenberger, Xbox Mick, Sean Ballon, and the General C. I hope everybody in chat is good today. Before we get into the show, of course, let's do our introductions. First and foremost, General C, how are you doing today, brother? What you been up to?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness today, and it was bloody amazing. Hard to talk about without spoiling it, so I'm not going to say anything about that.
Probably best.
Play some Hunt Showdown over the weekend, some Halo. It's pretty much really what I've been doing.
Nice.
Awesome. Monday was busy doing gardening because we've had a bit of a clean up. But yeah, it's not been many hours this week to game at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And of course, you joined us yesterday for Save Tuesdays, as always.
Yeah, it was really the only game time I got in this week.
And always a good
so
time.
far.
And always a good
Might jump on some Halo after this. Yeah, Sea of Thieves is brilliant.
Yes.
I'm really getting into it.
It has been awesome, and to be fair, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do after the Shrouded Ghost event and what next event they've got lined up. I'm sure Mick might know. I mean, you never know. You might not.
maybe Mike does.
Next up, Sean Ballon. How are you doing today, brother? What have you been up to?
I'm doing good. I've been working mainly. I've done a bit of gaming. I've been getting a bit annoyed with the last Spartan standing.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea, but I think there's some relatively major... Well, no, relatively major would be a bit harsh. There's some stuff they need to tighten up on it, I think, in my opinion. Me and Jen have spoken about it. I agree with what Jen...
It's a good concept, poorly executed.
I wouldn't say poorly.
With things like the power-ups, I think they didn't think of it much. And the last circle, it hasn't really been thought out well, with lives being left.
I mean,
so I think that's where I feel it's not been executed well.
Like with the power-ups, you can get them straight away. So it depends on if you're lucky enough to spawn, you can spawn in, and then a power-up drop next to you, and then you go on a little mini killing spree.
It's all
and
good.
It's all locked to where you spawn in.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's all good, like in the early game, but towards the end game, when a lot of people save their invisibility up, or they'll pop an invisibility just before the last and manage to pick up one really quick and save that for the last circle. It's a bit of a ball ache when someone's hiding in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
well, that's the thing is, I was talking. I think I posted it in our Facebook group. 2 pictures, kind of like what was fundamentally wrong. And let me just get it.
Yeah.
Like, first picture was the person in first place had 4 lives. This was like near the end of the game. Had 4 lives and 1 kill.
Yeah. And
this was last like 4 odd people or something that was left in the game. So 4 lives and 1 kill. So he's just been hiding. Someone's come across him and he's killed him. And then the next one was an end of game where the person in second place had 3 kills. I had 7 who came in third, and the person in first had 14. So it just promotes hiding, really.
Camping.
For the first, you just hide in the corner and camp. So yeah, it gets annoying. The third partying at the beginning really irritates me as well.
A lot of my problems is to do with the end game. If you've got 1 life left or 2 lives left, you get killed by someone and then you spawn outside in the danger zone, so you're already taking
that happened to me.
And then as soon as you make it to the circle, you're 1 or 2 shots away, and as soon as you're in that person's sight, you're virtually dead.
Yeah, and there's normally only one way that you'll get to the circle in time, so they know the direction you're coming from.
Yeah. So that's where I feel like it's poorly executed.
To spawn in the red, and I spawned in the red underneath, so I had to run to the grav lift, go up the grav lift, turn right, and then run to where it starts to dip down again. And the guy was just waiting there for me, and he did it like 3 times on the trot because I had 3 lives left. And it was just like, there's nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing I can do.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off about it. It's a great mode, but the end game of the mode isn't thought out well.
Yeah, but hopefully they'll tighten it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they
it's
could
not
do it with a
something-
few adjustments.
Now that I've got the challenges, it's not something I can really go back.
And I think adding even adding that to a few more big team battle maps as well, that mode, and introducing duos and trios, I think will really kind of increase the amount of players playing that mode. Because I've been put off playing it because I don't play Halo multiplayer to play by myself. The only time I ever play Halo multiplayer is with friends. Like, it just detracts from playing a multiplayer game for me. But yeah, other than that, have you had a chance to play anything else, Sean?
No. Well, I'd loaded up earlier. I've not actually started his thingies out today. The Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. How do you say it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's out today. So I want to give that a go. I sent my brother a picture of it because he's a huge I can't remember Sudoku,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
He's a massive fan of that. He's probably the only person I know to get every single character on all three games, or the first three games.
Yeah.
All the stars. Like, he's played that game so many times, or all three of them so many times. He's a huge fan. And considering this is just...
I was going to say the one thing as well that's interesting to note is that obviously they've got two games. One of them is this, which is more of a side-scrolling action RPG. And then the second one, which is coming next year, which is a traditional JRPG.
Is this not the spiritual successor one?
No,
is that the other one?
This is the other one, yeah.
This is more like Secret of Mana.
Yes.
Where it's... All right, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so you'll enjoy it. It is. I've played probably about half an hour of it or so far. A large section of the opening bit is heavy on text. Heavy on text.
they tend to be that. Yeah, these types of games tend to be. Thingy was as well. What was it?
That standard in Japanese?
Oh yeah,
RPGs?
Yeah. What's that other Pixar? The one that you like? You really like?
Octopath.
Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
Octopath. Yeah. That took forever to get into properly.
It was tremendous.
You have a big chat with somebody, and then you walk over to somebody else and have a big chat with them, and then you go off and do whatever.
But it looks pretty. It sounds great. So far, the controls are very simple, but I would imagine it expands over time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into it a little bit more, to be honest. It's going to be awesome. It's one of the ones I've been looking forward to. Next up.
Yeah, when I saw it was coming, I was... I say when they first announced that, I was pretty hyped for it because I played the first two Sudokens, and I really enjoyed them. Way back in the day, flipping heck, they're old games now, aren't
Very
they?
old,
but because of their style and
still great though.
Exactly, they hold up because of the style and the turn-based JRPGs. They never really, you can't really ever say that they look bad because it's pixel art, and this is what you tend to get. The JRPGs in that traditional format. So yeah, they still hold up.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. I'm looking, you know what it is? I'm really looking forward to the second one as well, because the second one, as soon as I seen of the two of them, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I can see the kind of different characters and things like that on the one that we've got now. But the second one very much gave me Octopath Traveler vibes, that kind of 2D, 3D kind of element that went for in that. And are bringing, I think, to a number of remakes. I think they're doing some of the older ones in the style of Octopath, like Final Fantasy VI and 5 and things like that. So as far as I know, they're kind of redoing them in that art style, which I think is awesome. That's really the way I think it should be done. But yeah, sweet. Boxy, welcome back, brother. I would say I hope you enjoyed your holiday, but...
Don't get me started.
We've had a hell of an end to it. What a way to finish.
I had. Indeed. Yeah, man. I'm still glad to be back, though. Yeah. Little drained, actually. You should be rested and full with energy after a vacation. But now, yeah, it's just a mess. For those who didn't know, my son had a big accident at the end of our vacation, he had to go into surgery right there where we were at the vacation site. He had a big surgery. He broke multiple times his arm, and yeah, it's a mess. And now, the entire week was kind of like moving him over from the place where we had our vacation to hospital here nearby. Now he's actually out of the hospital, but we still have to go every day to the doctors because they have to monitor a couple of things. Anyway, I still found a little time to play some games because you have a lot of waiting time when you do stuff like that. So I actually play.
Who knew hospitals could cause you to wait?
When you do stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. It is like it is. So yeah, I played Trek to Yomi actually.
Nice.
Really enjoying that. Fantastic art style. The entire game is in Japanese, and you only have the subtitles. The combat system is a little weird at the beginning, but once you get used to it, it's actually fun. I really enjoy that game. On vacation, I also started Metroid Dread. I'm at the final boss now.
Oof.
Can't beat the motherfucker. But that is an awesome game. I was really surprised by how good Metroid Dread is. Definitely one of the best Metroidvanias in the last decade or so. Amazing game, fantastic, absolutely love it. The level design is superb. The controls are on point.
So where would you put it up against? Where would you put it up against Hollow Knight and Ori then?
Well, I think Hollow Knight is still king. That game is still just outstanding. But I think it's in a similar ballpark like Ori. It really is that good. Fantastic, really. The level design, the exploration, the way how they bring you back to the areas that you already have been is something very unique. I haven't experienced that in a Metroidvania so far. It's really good. Actually not that challenging. I heard a lot of people say, oh, it's really hard and challenging. Up until the final boss, I didn't think that, but now the final boss is kicking my ass.
Yeah.
But other than that, I highly recommend it. Definitely worth checking out. One of the best games on the Switch, for sure. And I actually bought Dawn of Ragnarok, the DLC or add-on for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I haven't yet. But that's because every time I try to find it, every time I try to find it, it's as a bundle, and I'm just trying to.
Oh no, it's in the sale at the moment.
Is
Dutch.
it?
Yes, yeah. It is.
Yeah, I saw that. Was tempted myself.
Yeah, and you all have played the main game, right?
Yeah, finished it. Yeah.
And you have these dream missions where you play as Harvey, as that god in. And that's basically the entire thing. So.
Oh, good.
You're not going back to England. You're going into that mystical world back as being Harvey, and it's really good. It is definitely the best add-on Valhalla had so far. I played all the other DLC as well. Not that they were bad, but this one is really good so far. So yeah, that's basically what I've been playing. But I'm very early in Dawn of Ragnarok. I only played like an hour, 1.5 or so. So,
but good first impressions.
Probably a little bit, yeah. And Metroid was the game on vacation, and then it was Trek to Yomi. So that's basically it. I also had to go back to work, of course, and I made a little video that is up for the channel members already, going live tomorrow for the public. So busy. I didn't sleep much over the last week or so, but
You wouldn't have done with a little
yeah.
one.
Don't blame you. No.
But yeah, no, it is awesome, and obviously it sounds like, and I've seen anyway by your posts, you'd missed making videos. You'd missed.
Yeah, honestly, I got a lot of DMs how or why I did do that, and honestly, it's kind of relaxing for me. It takes your mind off of things, and when you're sitting at home waiting for the result of an X-ray where your wife is with your son in the hospital, and you're just waiting for hours, it really helps you to distract yourself. So, yeah, that's just. I always say content creation became a hobby just like gaming itself. I enjoy that just as much. It's because of the community. It's because it just it's a fantastic distraction, and I miss doing it. I'm back on it, and next week I will also resume with my podcast. I can't do that tomorrow because I have to take care of our other son. My wife has to go to the hospital again with our injured son, so I have to take care of the other one, and that's why I won't do my own podcast tomorrow, but I'll be back doing that as well next week. I have some awesome things planned for the E3 week, or whatever you will want to call it.
Getting into busy time now.
Yeah, we're entering the busy time, so that's what I've been up to.
Awesome stuff. Mick, brother, how are you doing today, and what you been up to?
Good, thanks, man. Yeah, just been out, still working on the greenhouse, getting there slowly. It's coming along nicely.
Another spice rack.
From that, another spice. Do you know what? Jokingly, you said the spice rack the other week, and do you know what I got asked the other day? Do you think you could make me a spice rack? Because they're all falling out of this. I'm like, oh my god, Foxy is psychic.
It's a very large spice rack you made.
Yeah, it is a rather large one. Yeah, but no, it's but no, apart from that, the usual. Working 6 days sucks, but you know you got to do it, haven't you? Back at work though now. At least my foot, I can walk around again, so I'm doing well.
Nice.
And playing a bit of Sea of Thieves with you, Dutch.
Yes.
And Chris and Jen. It's been good, and been touching on the Halo. I've played a little bit of the Last Man Standing, but it's not my thing. So just jumping into some regular multiplayer just to get some XP every day.
Yep.
Try and grind out the 100 slowly but surely.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it really.
Awesome stuff. For myself, I've been played a little bit of Eiyuden Chronicles Rising. Like I say, just the opening half an hour, 45 minutes or something. Looking forward to getting back into that. Can't judge it yet based on what I've played. Like I say, it's very text heavy at the beginning anyway, so a good chunk of what I did play was simply text and talking to characters. Played some Halo, played lots of Halo, played a little bit of Fortnite. Obviously, Sea of
What do you think of season 2
of Halo?
Yeah.
It's hard to judge so far. I'll stick by the fact that it still hasn't got enough content. It's great having 2 new maps, but when, for instance, in arena modes and things like that, you come across the arena map quite frequently, and it's great. But the second map you literally never see in the regular big team battles, and you always see in Last Man Standing. So it's essentially a void map as it is, unless you're playing Last Man Standing. And because that's play by yourself, and I love playing Halo multiplayer with people, I just don't play it. So, so for me, it needs work, and they need to implement it. I've got a good feeling though, and you've got to give shout out to Paris and their podcast the other day. They had Joe Staten on. And they were asking him, why is it that you can't just bring across a load of these other old classic Halo maps for us to play? Surely that would be a quick kind of fix in the meantime while we're waiting for new content, etc. And Joe kind of kiddishly joked along with him, that would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be absolutely awesome to play these awesome maps, like these classic ones that we love. Wouldn't that be great to do that? Yeah, I'll write it down in my notebook. And then laughed. So I've got a good feeling that they are already doing that, and that could potentially be a drop around showcase time. I think Josh
fingers
is-
crossed.
Or
Fingers
he was
crossed.
just,
Fingers
or he was
crossed.
just being sarcastic.
Oh, I don't think he was.
Yeah, that could also be. Honestly, I
we'll
lost
just
a
do
lot of
that. Let's
trust.
just get on
there.
with that right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you will. I think it's something, and you know what it is. The one thing all Halo fans have said since the beginning is, how hard can it be, surely, to get a lot of these old assets from your previous games, i.e. maps, and bring them over to the new one? Like, we know that you've got to reconfigure certain things for certain game modes, but it surely it must be far easier and quicker to do that than it is to generate maps from scratch. So I think they've got something planned, and I think it will only, like, I mean, Jen spoke about it as well. It's only a great thing if they do add it, because it gives them a lot of respite and a lot more, should we say, time to focus on new content that they're making from scratch. At the moment, what they don't have is time on their hands to do so. They don't have time on their side because people are like, there isn't enough content. So what are we doing? Like, what are you doing? How are you going? You need to get it out now. You need to get it out quick. And because there isn't anything there to occupy people in the meantime, and it's all just the same maps every week, and it has been for months on end, people are getting on their backs. I think having these old maps, whether it be 5, 6, 7, 8 old maps, whatever it is, that being added into the game for the second, and saying, right, okay, well, you've got these maps and plus these these old classic ones that have been brightened up into the new engine, until kind of our new content and our new maps come out. I think that'll alleviate a lot of the pressure on themselves, to let them kind of focus with a little bit, give more of the time back to themselves to get the content fixed and the content kind of rollout fixed, if that makes sense. So I think on their side, go on, Boxy.
Yeah. No, I've been saying the same thing, but that's something that they should have done
Months ago,
half a year ago.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I've been on different podcasts now talking about this. It comes up almost on every Xbox podcast every once in a while, and honestly, and I don't want to sound too negative, but there's really not many good things to say about 343. They have let the community down with that game, and its post-launch support. It is beyond my understanding. They have 800 people working there. It's one of the biggest game development studios in the world, and that's just.
We've heard them say it themselves. They can't keep making excuses.
Yeah, it is. And Joe Staten
that's an excuse in itself.
is responsible for almost 2 years now. I'm not taking him out. He's not the savior everyone made him out to be. He isn't. He also, he had he was in charge for almost 2 years now. And you launched a live service game like that with a handful of maps, repeating all the game modes play essentially the same. There's really not much variety. Now you bring Delay Season 2, you bring that out lackluster with 2 other maps. It is beyond my understanding what they have been doing for 6.5 years now. I have no idea. With one of the biggest studios in the world. And these 800 343 employees are just a small part of it. They have hundreds of other contractors working on the game as well. Honestly, what have they been doing? And for me, I don't understand.
A game that's been in development for 6 years, is it?
6.5 years. It's 6.5 years now. Honestly, that's just not good. And I know they have been doing other things as well, like the TV show, and they've been doing supporting the Master Chief Collection, no doubt. But still, come on, with that studio, that budget, that amount of people, have nothing basically
Yeah,
to support the game in the first year. Honestly, the first major content drop will come out at its 1-year anniversary. So Halo 3 launched with more maps and more content than that, and got a significantly better post-launch support than this one, and that was like 15 years ago.
A lot of people will say,
12 years
you
ago.
can't complain about it because we were in a pandemic. But a lot of people forget that Halo 5 had a really bad launch as well. So
Yeah.
where's the excuse for the pandemic there with Halo 5? That launched lacking so much content too.
Yeah, and even Halo 5 had way more maps
Content.
and modes.
Yeah, it had more content, modes, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and now the new modes that they have added, honestly, they just play the same. Where's our mode, like a firefight mode, or like that Warzone mode, or something like that?
The thing is they've went back to front. Like this time, so last time with Halo 5, we had an issue with this. Obviously, the story was. I think it was mainly because of the poor marketing around it. They marketed that it was something that wasn't.
They marketed the game completely different from what we got. Hunt the Truth. And they had a whole audio story that went alongside it. Every week they had like a new episode of this audio story.
Yeah.
And none of that panned out in the game. Absolutely none of it.
And they took it away from Chief as well. That's the thing. They took it away from Chief. But the good thing they had is the online side of things was fine. It was great.
Yeah.
There was loads of content. Yeah. Now it's the opposite way around. Like the campaign is good, but now the multiplayer is terrible. And I'm not saying terrible in terms of
Halo 4,
gameplay because
Halo 4 launched with...
And the thing is, I feel this is such a strange thing because Halo in its core is fantastic. They have nailed the core gameplay mechanics. The shooting feels great. The movement is fantastic. The additions with the grappling hook and stuff like that, awesome. All good. Like you said, Dutch, fantastic campaign. I really liked how they also set up the ending of the story. I know many didn't like that. I really liked it because it can bring so much in with upcoming or the next Halo games and story add-ons or whatever. But yeah, you just gotta ask yourself, what have they been doing for that during that time, and what the hell are they doing with so many people? Honestly, that's beyond me, and I'm not making any excuses. Joe Staten came out in January and said, this is gonna be the biggest year for Halo yet. That was his statement for 2022. And then you have 2 maps for basically the entire year.
2 maps for a year.
For a year. Yeah.
Best year for Halo. And one last thing, when people say, oh, it's so cool that they are so transparent in their communication. I don't see the transparency here. I just see, we're telling you that we have nothing for you to play. I don't.
But, I think they're being very vague. They're not being transparent at all.
No. And so I honestly, and if we enter the next holiday season, and Xbox is gonna have games like Redfall, games like Starfield, the next Forza. Honestly, who wants to go back if they drop another couple of maps for that game?
Yeah.
Of course, there are a couple of diehard Halo fans, but that's not what's bringing in the masses again. And I know people compare it with Sea of Thieves, but Sea of Thieves is kind of a different story.
It was also a new Sea of Thieves was a new IP. It wasn't a staple franchise.
Exactly, and
so Sea of Thieves had to find its feet more than anything. Halo, should already have its feet. It's a 20-year-old franchise.
Exactly, and from the core game experience, it's significantly different because you have you can play Sea of Thieves for hours. Yeah, while Halo is like you have a 5-minute match, bam, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's just different. And you can't compare the two. If all, you have to compare it to something like Fortnite or a Warzone, and those games didn't launch like they are today. That's the idea of live service game, that it grows, but they have no roadmap for that game. Basically, the first year is empty. There's nothing coming, and then we have too many other Xbox games in the pipeline. Like I said, Starfield, Redfall, Forza. This year we will get next year an insane amount of games. And honestly, I don't see that many people will go back unless they bring out actually a new Halo. With the campaign and everything.
A lot to prove. I don't know what it is at 343 Industries. I don't know if it's the leadership or what, but something needs to happen. They need to take a good look at what's going on at 343s
like I say,
and root out whatever issue is causing this problems.
In the short term, adding some of these old maps in will alleviate a little bit of pressure on themselves. Give them a little bit more time to get that actual new content up running and out and to the people.
Yeah.
But I think it's only just more of it gives them a little bit more time than anything else. It's not a stopgap by any means. It's something that is just providing a little bit more time for them. But they need to step it up quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the big hope for everyone is the new rumored battle royale kind of game mode from
Certain Affinity.
Certain Affinity, thank you. I had on my podcast, I had a super chat about that, and that idea has stuck in my mind because I honestly think this is what 343 needs. Someone said, I can't remember who said it. If that Certain Affinity game mode is a success, just hand the multiplayer for Halo over to Certain Affinity for 2 years, and then completely restructure 343 because something is significantly broken within that studio.
Yep.
If you have like 800 people and 6.5 years and 500 million development budget, and you can only get out like 6 maps or so, something is fundamentally broken in that studio. So take away the IP, you hand over to the multiplayer to Certain Affinity, let them take care for it for 2 years, and then you completely restructure 343 because that's what they need.
Yep.
I wouldn't say take the IP away from them, but I'd say give 343 the spin-off.
The multiplayer for 2 years or so to them, then they can focus, restructure whatever they need to do, and then.
I think 343 should be designated as a spin-off sort of spin-off Halo game company because it proved that they can do it with Halo 5. I always say Halo 5 was the best spin-off that never really existed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because as a game, it's a good game, but as a Halo mainline game, nothing special.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Speaking of showcase times, though, as Boxy mentioned, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. So before we get into the topics, of course, we do ourselves have a very busy couple of weeks at the tail end of this month. So as usual, we will have the Sea of Tuesdays. We will have the podcast on Wednesday. Following the podcast, of course, on the 9th, we will have the reaction to the Summer Game Fest stream. On the Friday, which will be our only day off, or my only day off. Saturday, we will then have the weekend edition with me and Jen covering Summer Game Fest and any other news that has come out since then. Going straight over to Boxy's channel, you will get the predictions for the Xbox Showcase as well on for Sunday. Then ourselves on Sunday morning, you will have the predictions show, which will be about an hour long. We'll get some awesome names in there. Already got the questions out. A lot of people are going to be up and around that day anyway, but like every other huge channel, everyone's covering this. So time is of short supply to everybody. So everyone's going to be coming in 5 minutes, maybe-ish each, dropping their final predictions, coming in. So the likes of Lord Cognito, Ains, King David, Boxenberger's coming on, of course, give his final predictions. Pretty much anybody and everybody. We'll get everybody on. Mav's going to be coming on as well. So final predictions. Then everyone goes off, gets their shows ready. We'll get our own show ready, which, blowing my own trumpet here, will be in a crispy 2K 60 frames, so nice and crispy. awesome audio so everyone can hear it properly. And we'll be there doing an awesome live stream covering the entire show with our panel members, our regular panel members. And of course, following that, no doubt there's going to be a whole host of post-show discussions and post-show podcasts, etc. But yes, there's a lot to come. So keep your eyes out. It might expand yet, depending on what happens over the next few weeks. There might be more showcases get announced. You never know. But it's going to be awesome. And of course, Boxy's still debating whether or not to be on our show or to host his own show. I think it's debating right now.
Yeah, man. I want to host my own show. I want to do that. But you got to admit that basically every channel is making a post show. And so I'm still debating whether I do it or not.
Do a poll.
But yeah, I probably will. Because it's just a special event.
Get the chat to decide what you should do.
Chat will be like, stay here.
Yeah.
No,
I think I said it.
It also makes sense. So, like I say, every channel's got it, but my channel is, even though we've got mixing communities, you've also got a larger subscriber base, so you've got a different community entirely. So your community is going to be there regardless. Our community is going to be here regardless. And likewise, other separate communities like Iron Lords have got their die-hard fans, so they'll be there, but in their hundreds or thousands. So likewise for anybody else that's doing shows. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. And there's going to be a lot of content for people to watch. And you know what it is? The great thing about this showcase time is even when we've done our own, I go through and watch everybody else's reactions to different moments from different podcasts, because I love seeing how different people have reacted to different news. Like we did last year when we were reacting to when Forza got shown off and just how epic Forza Horizon looked. And seeing people's reactions to that, and then the Sea of Thieves drop, and listen to how everybody kind of react to the Pirate's Life unveiling there. That was a surprise drop. So either way, I'll be tuning into everybody's content afterwards and kind of finding out how everybody reacted and what people's thoughts were and things. It's an awesome time. It's great to be excited about video games again.
Absolutely.
What, we're allowed to be excited about games?
Woo!
I thought that was against all the rules.
You know what it is? And I'm even slightly, and it sounds strange, but I'm even slightly excited for the Summer Game Fest. I know it's Jeff Keighley, and of course we've all got our things against or disagreements with him, let's put it that way. But he is still trying to put on an event where E3 failed to do so. He's still trying to bring gaming news and new announcements and things to the community. So either way, it's going to be exciting to see what is announced there, what new games are announced. It's going to be a rush, that one, though, because I'll be getting in from work, I'll make a coffee, I'll come upstairs, I'll get the invites out, I'll get people in, and I'll be right, ready to the show. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. I want to, speaking of showcases, we're going to start with that. Summer Game Fest is officially the first showcase that we're going to see of the showcase season on June 9th. It's an early one early-ish one for the Europeans, of course, specifically for getting in from work. It is 6 o'clock UK time, obviously 7 p.m. European, which works out, I think, at 1 p.m. Eastern, and is that 10 a.m. Pacific, I think, 10 a.m. PST, so relatively early, specifically for a working week, so thanks Jeff Keighley for that. You could have put it on Saturday, that would have been appreciated, but never mind. Yeah, it's going to be a rush, but it's going to be, like I said, I'm just excited to start getting into it and start seeing some new stuff. I want to go to Boxenberger first. Boxy, Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley. What do you hope, and what do you think you need to see from this showcase for it to be semi-successful? I'm not going to say a complete success, because there's going to be stuff we don't like, but Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that with every showcase? I mean, every showcase has stuff you like and stuff you don't like. Honestly, I thought last year he didn't do such a bad job. I'm not a big fan of him in general, but you gotta admit that he is one of the key figures in the industry. And when the pandemic started, he did what the ESA, the organization behind E3, couldn't do. Put together a proper show, unite developers, publishers, and so on. And you gotta give him props for that. It's a bigger achievement. And last year, the production quality went up significantly. My biggest issue with that thing was that it was kind of like an ad show. So there were a lot of advertisements in between. Nevertheless, there have been some fantastic game announcements at that show last year. So I expect this year to be on a similar quality level, if not better, because we know that some of the bigger publishers decided not to host their own events. Like last year, we had an own Ubisoft, an own EA event, we had a Square Enix event. We are not going to see that this year. We have heard that from multiple people from the industry. We don't know yet which publisher is not going to host and which one is going to host.
We know
Ubisoft,
EA
they
specifically have said, nope, we're just going to drop whenever.
Oh, they said that?
Yeah.
I must have missed that. Okay, see. So, yeah, what are they going to do? They are going to go on either the first party stages like Xbox and PlayStation. We know PlayStation will also have an event. I don't think it's going to be in June.
Yeah.
Last year it was it September or October when they had their thing. Nevertheless, it's we know they will have also another show this year. So yeah, EA will go to those, or they go to Jeff Keighley, especially with those games where they don't have a dedicated partnership. Because going on the Xbox stage or going on the PlayStation stage immediately means that you kind of have at least a marketing partnership or something like that. So yeah, I expect a lot of the bigger publishers to be there. I'm really not sure if Ubisoft is going to have a show as well. We know for sure that Square is not going to have one. After they sold off their entire Western division, I don't think they are going to host their own showcase and event this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would say Square's stuff's going to be firmly with Sony.
Yeah,
probably.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I fully expect to see Final Fantasy 16 there again this year.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only bigger one they have in the works right now. I know they have this other one. I can't remember the name. Was kind of also no, Forspoken will be out by then. That's the thing. No, but yeah. Anyway, I think at Jeff Keighley we will see maybe Warner Brothers will appear there. Warner Brothers has a lot of games coming up this year. We have Gotham Knights. We have then Harry Potter. We have
Avatar.
Next year.
Is Avatar Warner Brothers or no? Avatar's
Avatar was
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, yeah. So Suicide Squad has yet to be revealed properly with ongoing gameplay. I could see that happening. Then of course EA is for me the interesting one because well, it is heavily rumored that Jedi Fallen Order 2 comes out this year.
Yeah.
So that could be something that we see there. We don't know about any of the other Star Wars games that they're working on, if we're going to see those. But on some stage, they have to reveal the new FIFA, the new Madden, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
all these sports games. So that's definitely something. And then I expect a ton of those AA games to appear there as well. we know that a couple of the indie studios have actually achieved quite the production quality right now, and they also probably want to get some more traction through a bigger stage, and so I expect that to be there. Yeah, there's a lot that could be shown at the Summer Game Fest. I honestly only hope that he dials back a little bit the advertisement. I know
only a little bit.
Yeah. I know. Yeah,
Powered by G Fuel.
A lot.
Yeah, we all understand the problems with doing stuff like that. It costs a lot of money, and he doesn't have an ESA organization behind him. Yeah, and he doesn't have the same fees like the ESA, where you pay hundreds, if not millions of dollars just to put your booth in on there and select the logo E3 on it and stuff like that. He doesn't have that. So yeah, I know that, but on the other hand, we all know if you put in too much advertisements, it's just not fun anymore to watch. So I think in terms of games, we will be surprised, and we will see some cool things there. I do hope that the format works out fine.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Is there anything that you specifically need to see at Summer Game Fest for it to really be like I say, be a success on the first day?
Honestly, yeah. Well, Jedi, I've already mentioned Jedi Fallen Order 2. I truly hope that it is true that this game comes out this year. I love the first one. I want to see the sequel. Then, for me, what I would really, really love to see is that Quantic Dream Star Wars game.
Yeah,
I want to see what that is, but honestly, I think it's a little bit too early. But yeah, that would be my dream.
Awesome stuff. I'm going to go to Shom next, if Shom's back. Shom, you're back.
Yep, sorry.
Hello. No, you're sorry.
I'm back.
I was just checking you were back before we went to yourself. Yeah, but with Summer Game Fest coming up, Jeff Keighley taking essentially the reins away from E3, who have stepped back indefinitely for this year, and potentially even going forward, we will see. But what do you specifically want and need to see from Summer Game Fest for it to be a successful opening to the showcase season?
Less cheesiness. I think some of his stuff can be quite cheesy. Less ads, like Boxy was saying. It's just they get on the border of egregious sometimes. And I mean, with I know that the awards are late for us. But the main thing that stops me even staying up for that is I might as well just watch everything afterwards without all the ads.
Yeah.
It ends up being quite... It's almost that seems to be the primary focus for him. And as Boxy just said, he doesn't have the financial backing that the ESA has, but how much profit is he making from it as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't imagine him breaking even. I think there's going to be quite a substantial profit.
You okay there, Sean?
Oh, I was going to say, was that me that went?
Yeah, you never know when someone's suddenly gone.
Wonder if his audio is just cut out there.
I thought it was me. I just pressed something on the keyboard. The sound went dead. I thought, oh crap, what have I pressed?
We'll see, just in case his microphone.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
I can hear you now.
There we go. You're back.
I don't know what happened then. In terms of games, I don't know what I'd say in terms of what would be a success, because I don't really have massive hopes for it.
Well, a success in your eyes, then. A success to you, what would you say?
I think Boxenberger did quite a good comprehensive overview of it. I want to see some of the people that aren't going to be there that are traditionally there, if you know what I mean. So having some Ubisoft, some EA, because I don't expect there to be. I know Microsoft will be there in some form, but I'm expecting that to be, or at least I'd hope that to be announcements for Gears DLC or Halo DLC. That kind of level of announcements where it's you might get one go, oh holy, yeah, you might get one surprise thing, but overall they're going to leave all the heavy hits for themselves. So maybe we'll see Redfall gameplay. That might be a good place to put it rather than the main event. Something that we've already seen that they want to expand on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a hard one because I don't particularly like Jeff Keighley. I don't. Not just him in itself. I think what he's trying to do, I think, could be quite destructive to the industry. The fact that he's trying to monopolize it for himself. He wants E3 to go away because he wants to be the person. Whenever people talk about Game of the Year now, it's the Keighley's. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter which game won something else. It's like, yeah, but it didn't win the Game of the Year. And Jeff Keighley hasn't been the Game of the Year all that long, really. And he's managed to put himself into that position where whenever you talk about Game of the Year, you mean his show, nothing else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to have one person have that much control over the industry or, awards and showcases, I don't think it's a good thing. So I don't want, if E3 was to come back and it is just a temporary hiatus, which I fear it's not, I don't want him to be the person to pick up the reins. So maybe I do have a little bit of a bias against him and not wanting to see it succeed. No, I want him to fail in terms of financially, but I'd rather there be something else other than him.
Yeah, something that specifically isn't advertisement heavy.
Yeah, and it doesn't stroke his ego.
Yeah.
I think by having it as a corporation or as an ESA or there being different heads for it, it's not under somebody's own wing.
Yeah, so they're not they're not taking specific credit for what's happening.
Yeah, because it wouldn't. If it was him, it's just like Jeff Keighley's organizing this, and you had a number of presenters, you had a number of things, but it's him up front. It's like I said, it's stroking his ego. It's him that wants to do everything. He wants to be seen.
Yeah, like he's the face of the organization, sort of thing.
Yeah. It is a bit of an ego trip for him.
You don't really see that with E3. It's just E3. You don't really
because there is no figurehead for it. So
yeah,
I hope E3 doesn't go away. But I also because I
want to go.
If Jeff Keighley wants to do if he wants to replace him, then at least hopefully it's in person. He can just step into that gap. And if he was to organise and there be other people on boards and whatnot, like the ESA, then I might be a little bit more willing to change my stance. But if it's all just digital and it's just look at me, then I don't really care.
No, that's a good way. Like I say, for me, the missing E3 is the prospect, potentially, if it doesn't come back, is the prospect of going and meeting some awesome people from the community over in America and going to the showcase for the first time. Like E3's always been our Super Bowl, essentially, for gaming. And tuning into that, it's like, it's a week-long or week and a half long event where we get new games every day. There's a new showcase every day. Like it's a structured time of the year where everyone's hyped because we know what to expect. We know who's going to be there. We know all the different companies and things like that. So it was just an event. It was a time of the year for us geeky gamers to go out and enjoy ourselves and see all this new fancy stuff and not be able to go and do that and potentially see that in person or experience that in person with your friends and go meet friends from the other side of the world and things like that. That is a little bit what I would be missing from it, and what I hope if E3 does go away and Jeff remains and has this show permanently, he does implement an in-person week like ESA did have, where everyone can come and kind of congregate and experience things firsthand. I think that is pretty much essential for the community, because there is other things in America. Of course, we know PAX East, but again, the travel there for a lot of Europeans is nigh on. It's not impossible. It's just extremely expensive. And again, going over to it's likewise for the Americans to come over just for Gamescom. Over in Germany, it's the same thing. Gamescom is one of the busiest, if not the busiest, game showcase events in the world. Hundreds of thousands of people go over there. It's really busy. Hard to get booked in for hotels and things. Yeah, much bigger than E3. So trying to get organised for that as well is also quite difficult, and specifically from the other end of the pond onwards. So E3 was kind of this weird middle ground.
It would be nice if E3 came back, or Jeff Keighley did it, whether they did like not so much a tour, but each year it was in a different city.
I think that would be awesome.
You could even incorporate Canada into that, Vancouver, Toronto. It doesn't have to be in America, but at least, that's in the same time zones and whatnot.
I was going to say,
what he did this year, and I think this is actually a great idea, is he partnered with IMAX, and they have these view parties at different IMAX locations, so that it at least brings together the community in different cinemas around the world, and I think that is actually quite a good idea.
Yeah, and the one thing I was going to say, if you have a look at Xbox have done that for FanFest this year. So obviously they don't have an in-person showcase, as it were, but what they have done is got FanFest events to go in every essentially, apart from UK.
I found that a bit odd, actually.
Europe,
I did find that really odd.
Yeah, Europe. Obviously, I think Germany might have one. Spain, Italy, Portugal, things like that.
No, it's not. It's no, they don't. It's LA.
It's 3 cities in the US, and that's all.
LA, Italy, is it? No, Madrid. LA, Madrid, Sydney, and I can't remember what the fourth one is.
I'm going to have to look at this because I'm pretty sure, 2 seconds, I'm pretty sure my FanFest thing mentioned some European ones.
Madrid.
Might have been
Madrid. It's just Madrid.
Yeah, it might have been Madrid, that's right. I can't find it now, but yes, so there was a European one, so it was relatively close to home. But
Madrid, though, when has Spain been a big Xbox?
Yeah, it hasn't.
Hub?
It isn't.
Yeah, there we go. There it is. I'm trying to look down now just to see where it is. Los Angeles. Oh yeah, so Los Angeles, Madrid, Toronto.
Toronto, that was the one.
Melbourne,
not Sydney. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was Australia.
But yeah, I mean, it's something. But as you mentioned before, taking the showcase to different areas, what Xbox do, and obviously will be bringing back, is the XO events. And XO events do change location and go to different areas. So obviously, in 2019, before the pandemic, we had XO 19 London, which myself, Mick, and a few others went to.
And I was good with that. That was 2 weeks after I got back from China, and I just didn't have the funds.
Yeah, and to be fair, if you had been able to travel, I had a second ticket, so you.
I remember you saying,
yeah, and you were just like, I would love to, but I can't. Like, I've got no money to travel. I was like, oh, bollocks.
I've literally got all my money went into getting back from China.
Yeah. But that's another good thing. Like I say, they do these XO events and they change location throughout the world every year. So yeah, I think an event like that where they change location and bring it to a new place every time would be awesome. There's lots of big arenas that they can host it in every year. So no doubt they could be able to do that. Yeah. What would you, game-wise, what would you want to see then? As an ideal thing for him to, like you mentioned, he's not going to get the big hitters from Xbox, the big ones. But in terms of third party, what would be the ideal kind of game you want to see shown by him?
I know it's become a little bit of a meme with me, but I would like to see where they're at with or if they're anywhere with the remake of Splinter Cell. Even just a little kind of clip of I just want to see what they're doing to it and how they're doing it.
Yeah.
You know where it is? Quite interesting. Although
yeah, I was going to say I would hope I would hope they're going down the same vein as EA are with the likes of Dead Space, where it's
it's a complete from the ground up.
yeah.
I don't want it to be Splinter Cell with right click 4K save.
Yeah.
Because the gameplay aspect of it needs completely updating because it is just so old.
Yeah.
It's quite wooden.
Clunky.
Hopefully they don't do a GTA remaster trilogy on that game.
As long as it doesn't rain.
Or Prince of Persia.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd want it to be, new lighting. Even like it'll be on a completely new engine. Which I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. I do think that's probably what's going to happen. So, yeah, maybe that from... The thing is, Ubisoft used to be so good that you'd be excited for Ubisoft conferences, and now it's just the last couple we've been bored, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, we have.
It's just been.
I don't even remember watching the last Ubisoft conference thing. To be honest, it was that unmemorable.
The thing
I know people got excited for Avatar, but I was.
Which one? There was about 5 all within a few months of each other.
Wait, there was 5? Well, that goes to show how unmemorable it was.
I think it was 3, and they were all just smaller ones, and nothing got announced.
Mm.
The thing is with the Ubisoft conferences is usually they are boring. You have Let's Dance and stuff like that. And then they have that one killer game always at the end where you like, I want to play that.
Yeah, more
like
of this, please, Ubisoft.
I miss when they used to have that girl that was on that actor. What was her name now?
Aisha Tyler.
Yes.
Oh.
That was brilliant.
Well, because she was passionate about it. She's a gamer. She absolutely loved Ubisoft things. So it wasn't a case of getting somebody to do a presentation. She loved doing it.
Yeah.
She's in Criminal Minds.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, like Ubisoft, it wasn't just boring. Oh, by the way, get excited. They did have some good stuff in it, but it was always the one last thing that you were really like, what are they going to absolutely blow my mind with? Whereas the last couple, it was, especially not last year, the year before, I was just like, what? I can't remember what it was, but it was like it was a nothing. It was absolutely nothing. Even Avatar, I was like, really? Okay, right, fine.
See, I'm excited about Avatar. That one is the one I'm excited for. I can't wait for Avatar. And to be fair, I mean, a lot of people hated on the new trailer that's just come out, but I loved the first Avatar, and this is more of that. And it looks awesome, so I'm excited for it.
Visually, the film looks amazing, but it's not my cup of tea.
I'm the opposite. I'd never really liked the film, so yeah.
I've never seen the film.
I think they're more like showcases to show off his cameras and all that stuff.
You know what it is?
Well, isn't it just it's just Romeo and Juliet, isn't it?
Didn't someone break down the story? Pocahontas with blue aliens.
Pocahontas, sorry, yes, Pocahontas. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. It's just
I think it might have been you that said that last time we were in the green room.
I knew it was something like that. It was just basically a rehash of a age-old classic story.
Yeah,
I think more than anything,
Sons of Anarchy is just Hamlet. So,
as a wild side note to that, though, Avatar: Flights of Passage in Disney is the best ride on Disney World property. It's phenomenal. So if you ever manage to get to Disney World, go on Avatar: Flights of Passage. It is insane. Unbelievable work that they've done there, and it makes you really feel like you're part of that world as well when you're doing it. But it's part of that's the one of the intriguing things that I like. And again, I'm a very big fan of the artistry behind things and the way that they make things look and everything like that. And I think the level of detail they've put into the world of Avatar is just for me it's a breathtaking view. And that's one of the key things that I love about it, is just so many different things they've done with the planet they've designed and the creatures they've got there and how everything interacts with each other and things. It's an awesome concept. The story, of course, it's a pretty simple story. It's tribalism essentially, humans versus aliens in a different manner. But
it's one person against in quotations the other. That's all it is.
Yeah.
The different person.
Yeah. It's just it's an action film, action adventure, should we say? Put it nicely.
At least it doesn't have Mel Gibson in it.
Yeah. Freedom.
It was the search for unobtainium that always made me laugh.
Yes.
Unobtainium. That was just, oh god, is that the best?
Sometimes, yeah, who
that
the
best you could come up with.
I think the game itself, though, I think the game will be really. I think from a visual standpoint, it's going to be awesome. I think from a gameplay standpoint, it's definitely going to be very interesting. Obviously, it's going to have flight mechanics in there. It's going to have mountables. It's going to have a lot of combat, a lot of exploration, a lot of adventure. So it's going to have. There's going to be a lot to it. I am looking forward to seeing what they do with it. But that's the only one Ubisoft-wise. Otherwise, as we've mentioned from Ubisoft showcases, they spend far too much time talking about Just Dances and things like that.
A yearly update.
Yeah.
But again, EA spends far too much time talking about FIFA.
Yeah. Oh, well,
True.
I'm glad. Oh, yeah.
Speaking
of FIFA, that is no more. It is now EA Sports FC because, of course, the license is officially ended. So it's no longer called FIFA. I'm forecasting it's going to end up something along the lines of Konami's eFootball, and it'll go as a free-to-play, and a lot of it's going to be microtransaction-based.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I've seen the tweet from Chess, and he spoke from my soul. FIFA is the only company in the world that can make EA look like the good guy.
Yeah,
I saw that tweet.
It's super greedy for that license fee. It was something like half a billion or something, was it not?
Yeah. What were they thinking? Come on! And now they want to make their own FIFA game,
It's like good luck with that.
Yeah.
They'll just license it out to some other person that will make a mockery of it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ubisoft, coming back to Ubisoft, what I wonder is, because they have actually quite the exciting pipeline. If you think about it, they have that Splinter Cell game that they have announced. They have the Avatar game. That they have the Star Wars game. They have Immortals Phoenix Rising. Next one. They have a new Assassin's Creed, of course, and the Watch Dogs in the making. They have that.
Didn't they say they're done with Watch Dogs for now? They're putting it on ice for a while.
No. On the contrary, they said it's going to be.
Sure, I saw a video.
No. They said Watch Dogs is here to stay. They want to make that with
It might have been in the recent
it's part of
Game Ranks video.
It's a part of the Assassin's Creed universe now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is. No. That Watch Dogs is definitely here to stay, and like I said, Immortals Phoenix Rising is rumored. Then what's that pirate game?
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones that I played like 4 years ago at Gamescom.
That's looking extremely underwhelming. By the way, we've all you've seen the gameplay. Did everybody manage to see that gameplay?
I played it, dude. I played that game. It was playable at Gamescom.
The Sea of Thieves killer.
Yeah, the Skull and Bones. Probably that's the reason why they delayed it so long. I think they had to find a different identity. Then what's the other Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Oh God,
is also
no, that's in dev hell. That's if that comes out, it's going to be. I just don't have any trust in that.
Yeah, I know that these are not the games that are coming in the next year or so. But the thing is that if you talk about Ubisoft, they have actually an exciting pipeline of games. They just need to create some hype around them, because right now they make themselves look like a boring company when they're really not. Honestly, I have like a dozen Ubisoft games I'm really excited for. I want to play Beyond.
I think they are a boring company now, though. I think they've lost their creative spark. Whenever they went, as soon as they went for the whole the formula of like your Far Cry's and stuff like, it's you go get this tower, unlock that, big open world maps. It's with every single game is doing that.
Far Cry 6? There wasn't a single
No,
tower
I'm not, because
to unlock the
no,
area.
I got bored by 5. I never completed 5. It was boring.
It is.
It was just.
Well, I give you that. 5 was boring, but all the other Far Cries were awesome, and Far Cry 6 was one of the best. Honestly, it had a fantastic sandbox. You could do amazing, crazy things in there. It was a fun game.
It's more so much the formula is boring. I'm not saying like the games, with them. It's just like when you look at Far Cry 3 and you compare it to Far Cry 4, it's the same thing. You look at Far Cry 4 and compare it to Primal, it literally is the same thing. It's the same map and everything. They've just changed the skin. I just think for whatever reason, if certain people have left or whatever, they just don't have this creativity anymore. They don't, as a company, other than Splinter Cell, because I'm a big Splinter Cell nerd anyway, they don't excite me anymore. And I used to love Ubisoft.
I mean, we see that with many of the big AAA companies these days because, well, the development budgets have gone up over the years. And if you have like a development budget of, I don't know, $200 million or so, you're not that easily taking creative risks. But I'm 100%, I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just saying we see that with many companies. That's what I always say is so exciting about the indie scene, where developers can actually take those creative risks and create something new.
And I think we had a good, to your point there as well, Boxy, we seen on Twitter the other day that crazy Chinese kind of small development team that made that one-for-one replication of that train station that looked realistic.
Was that Chinese or Japanese?
I think it was Japanese. It might have been Japanese actually. It was insane.
Yeah,
it looked realistic.
It was insane.
Like it double
Unreal 5. Yeah,
I watched that and thought, what am I looking at? What I was expecting something to come down the stairs, like jump out.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for a jump scare. And something some guy in an outfit come running out and just go, whatever. And anyway, and I watched it and nothing happened. And I thought, what am I watching? Went back to the tweet and actually read what it said and thought, whoa, that was actually a game. Jeez.
It was one of those things. Is once you knew that it was Unreal 5, you could start to pick apart that it wasn't quite one-to-one. But when you first see it, you go, where is this? And then you're like, oh, that's computer generated. All right, okay. It's like the torchlight didn't quite look like it. You know what I mean? It was just minor things, but think what the industry is going to be like in 10 years.
Yeah, and this is just indie scene.
I mean, the tools are there now that single developers can create something like that. Come on, last year, The Ascent, what was that, 12 people or so?
Yeah.
It was one of the best looking games of last year. It's not that indie games are anymore these games that look like they come from the NES generation. That's really not the case. But yeah, coming back to your original point, there's definitely a formula with the Ubisoft games. I know why they play it safe. The budgets are high. The risks are there if you deviate from it. But what people sometimes don't mention when they talk about the Ubisoft formula are the great games that they release that didn't follow that formula, like Immortals Phoenix Rising was definitely not a Ubisoft formula game.
If I remember right, I think it might have been Jez or it might have been on Dealer's podcast or something like that, the person responsible for that was removed for being not a very nice guy. And he was the one that would sign off on all the games, but if it didn't meet his criteria, which was that formula, then they would never get the green lit. And now he's not there. Maybe now we'll start to see more games have a little bit more of a different slant or be a bit more risky.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, the Division 2, 1 and 2 are awesome games. Yeah, not like the classic Ubisoft formula. I'm just saying, Ubisoft has a lot of great games in the making. Of course, some of them will follow the Ubisoft formula, others won't. I just think they should do a little bit a better job of creating hype around their actually great looking roadmap.
Yeah, you're right. I think that they put too much emphasis on the annual release games and the just dances, and like I say, they spend every showcase, you can guarantee you see more of the likes of Just Dance and Mario Rabbids crossover or whatever it is than you do any of their major titles that are coming out. They spend more time talking about the little things than they do about the big impressive stuff.
They seem to be chasing trends a lot as well, with like that X Defiant, and now this like Overwatch like game that they're working on. What, X Defiant? It was cancelled.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I think they just rebranded it, didn't they? They dropped the Tom Clancy name from it. And just
I think they dropped Tom Clancy from it because people were kicking off.
Well, maybe that's what it is then.
Yeah. Because everyone's
so they're working on that.
Saying it's got nothing to do with Tom Clancy. Stop using his name in these terrible titles.
Yeah. And then they've got this, what is it called? Project Q, I think, which is supposed to be like a hero shooter like Overwatch.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're caught up with chasing trends. We all know they had their own Battle Royale as well, which didn't do so well, and they ended up killing recently.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, that.
So I just think Ubisoft need to get out of this chasing trends because it's not working for them.
Yeah.
There is if you're interested in X Defiant, sorry, thought I'd muted myself then. If you're interested in that X Defiant, there is, I've just looked on here, there is actually an insiders thing you can register for it. So
I have zero interest in that game.
I'm good.
No, just thought I'd mention it. Just see it pop up.
That game's going to die quicker than their Battle Royale.
Yeah, it's a free to play, so
But again, a trend.
Yeah.
Trend.
But yeah, I think Boxy is right though. They need to focus on the pipeline of the big stuff that they're working on. Like Splinter Cell is such a big and important IP for them that they just underutilize.
How can they not dive into that IP for like a decade or so? When was the last? I think 2012.
Yeah,
11?
It was just before the Xbox One came out.
Yeah. So
it was September.
Like a decade. 10 years now, they haven't used that IP, which is.
Again, that falls into how do you do a Splinter Cell in an open world where you need to go on places and unlock stuff to open maps? You can't, so it was binned.
Yeah,
it doesn't fit that mold.
What was the last Splinter Cell? It was Blacklist, right?
Yeah,
Blacklist, which was the September before
August 20th, 2013. Is what it says,
yeah, May.
Yeah.
Quite a while.
And like, I've not been a fan of their Ghost Recon games over recent years. I couldn't stand Wildlands.
Wildlands was brilliant, but Breakpoint had a lot of problems to the point where it almost killed Tom Clancy.
I'm the other way. I didn't like Wildlands, so I didn't bother with Breakpoint. Yeah. I think they sort of need to take a step back and reevaluate where they're going with Ghost Recon.
Wildlands was good because it was just fun in co-op.
Yeah.
It was no good on your own.
No.
It was boring on your own.
Yeah, it was boring by yourself. In co-op, it's great because you've got a squad that you go and do missions in.
One flying a helicopter and the other one on the gun and just flying around, just like absolutely annihilating.
Me and my mate used to try and see how far we could snipe. Snipe kill.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of run down to somebody, and he'd be up on a mountain. He couldn't even see where the bullet landed. And there'd be me directing him, going, no, up a bit. No, down. Yeah, perfect. And, he couldn't even see the kill until it came up on screen. That's how far we got. But quickly, speaking about Ubisoft, Jeff Keighley tweeted a couple of hours ago, Ubisoft plans to ship the following games by March 31st, 2023. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, Mario and Rabbids Spark Hope, and Skull and Bones. So they hope to have them. We'll probably see them
by
at the
March next year. As long as Avatar comes out this year, don't care about the other two.
When's Avatar movie come out?
This year, isn't it? Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's a Christmas launch.
December this year.
I can imagine it coinciding with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they said it's their own story, so it's not a tie-in with the movie, but it makes only sense.
Yeah.
It's the hype. Yeah. I absolutely 100%.
I can see that for sure. Yeah, the movie will generate hype. People will be like, "Oh, I could do a video game in this world," and then bang, there it is. Go and buy it.
Definitely.
A quick.
Dutch, I think we need to touch into two super chats, super comments.
I was going to say two
members.
awesome ones from Paul AFC. First of all, member for 3 months now. Thank you, sir. Evening, lads. Have a great show. fist to you all. Thanks to you too. And of course, to the awesome Phantos Sir as well. Have you seen the new DLC for COD Vanguard? King Kong and Godzilla. Yes, I've seen it. I have
Isn't
no
it
idea how
for
it's going to work.
Warzone?
Yep. For Warzone, that's right. King
Is it
Kong and
for-
Godzilla are
interesting.
I
invading
thought it was
Warzone.
for Vanguard.
Vanguard
I think
Warzone.
it's for Warzone.
Warzone,
Yes,
yeah.
because it looks like it's set in the battle royale where like you're fighting around King Kong and Godzilla fighting.
Yep. Yeah. It's
Can you imagine if
it's strange.
Godzilla was the new nuke? You just call him Godzilla and he just stepped on everyone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's for
Just
Warzone.
uses his like laser
Yeah.
beam out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, thank you to both of those for 3 months of awesome membership there. Thank you again. Yeah, it's I think we'll go straight to Jen, because Jen, you've obviously been speaking on the Keeley show. We spoke about it a little bit on the weekend, but what are you hoping to see?
Less of that cringy Twitch culture that he brought with it last time, and less of the ads. I'm fully expecting him to bring Hideo Kojima on the show. You know how they're great friends, and I would expect Kojima to maybe announce his game this year that he's working on.
Yeah.
Possibly at Jeff's show. It would make more sense because of the
Silent Hill.
relationship he has. He's not working on Silent Hill.
I've heard it's
Abandoned, you mean?
in the work. I've heard there's a Silent Hill in the works. You know.
Yeah, it's been abandoned.
Who gave you that information, MBG?
Foxy.
Yeah, I do fully expect Kojima to announce his game at Jeff's show because of their relationship. That's where I would fully expect it. Either that or it's going to be announced at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Mostly, I just want to see updates of games that we've seen, third-party games that we've seen. Maybe some more gameplay for Saints Row is a game I'm looking forward to. So I want to see some more of that before I commit to pre-ordering it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really much I expect in the sense of big unveilings. I think a lot of it's going to be showing games that were previously announced last year. There will be like world premieres and stuff, but those will mostly be surprises, I think. And yeah, I expect EA to showcase stuff there at Jeff's show, as well as Ubisoft and some of the other third-party companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
maybe
love the
they,
irony of somebody leaking his show.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. All of it.
And I fully expect like EA and all that to show up a little bit at Xbox's showcase, because that's obvious. They're sort of going to pad their stuff out through multiple showcases, I think. And if Xbox has got some advertising deal with whatever they're working
Or a
on,
Game
or
Pass deal. I
PlayStation
think it
has
would primarily,
something.
if Xbox are going to show third-party stuff on this show, it will be Game Pass day one. Like we seen with... The reason I say that is like we seen with the big announcements from last year, where you had Requiem announced as
Plague's
day
Tale,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, Plague's Tale Requiem day one, Game Pass, and then what was it? That Russian game as well. I've forgotten the name of it. I keep forgetting the name of it.
Atomic Heart.
Atomic Heart day
Atomic
one,
Heart,
Game
yeah.
Pass, and it was like that type of stuff. I can imagine if they're going to include third party, it's going to be games that are going to Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
Wasn't their whole showcase last year? Everything shown was on was coming to Game Pass.
I think it was
it
one or
not?
2
Or was that
years
the
ago.
one
I think it was
before
a
that?
handful that weren't.
Last year they had actually a couple of games that didn't come to Game Pass day one. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be the case this year, because I think one thing that Microsoft wants to avoid is that that the publishers get the impression that every game that is released on the platform needs to be in Game Pass.
Yeah.
They still have to deal with that problem or that narrative, and I think they want to avoid that. So they will intentionally have a couple of games.
I was going to say, I think the reason I say Game Pass day one this year specifically is because I think on this occasion they've got more games that are further along now to showcase themselves than they would have the need to include a lot of third-party content this year. I think there's enough ready to show or potentially good to show this year from their own studios alone.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't need to, and if they did, then it would be like a big shout of like, haha, but look at what we've got as well for Game Pass. I think that would be the kind of inclusion they would have for a third party thing this year. And only
I fully expect there to be like a Game Pass trailer, and I've got a huge feeling that Saints Row is going to come to Game Pass because we all know how a lot of people are complaining about how that game has been. So I kind of expect it to go into Game Pass because of the.
I would love that to be true, but honestly, I don't think that will happen. Of course, there will be a Game Pass trailer, but it will be mostly like, let's say, AA games and indie games that come to Game Pass. I don't think that we see a big AAA game from a third-party publisher coming day one, and here's why: because they don't need to. They have enough content for themselves to release into Game Pass. Yeah, they have like Forza, Redfall, Starfield, and then we go into 23, and you have like really every other month you have a big AAA game coming. So the window for third-party day one releases, the AAA third-party releases, was now in the first half. They missed that. I don't think they will do it in the second half because they don't need that. In the holiday fall season, they have their own games supporting Game Pass. So, yeah, just my thoughts.
No, I agree. Jen, what would you need to see? Anything, one particular thing, if Jeff Keighley got the rights to show it off for the first time, what would you want him to show off if he could?
I'm with Sean. I've got to say, I want to see Splinter Cell.
Yeah. I think at this point we do just
I
for
need
Sean's
to see
sanity.
Splinter Cell.
I think just for
it's
Sean's
been far
sanity
too long
and
without Splinter Cell.
I feel sorry for him now. We've been rocking this avatar with Sean for that long now. I feel like he's required by law now to have a Splinter Cell game.
When you talk about showing, what I expect is how they first showed off Dead Space. Like, I'm not expecting this huge, gameplay section. Even if it's just a case of a work in progress. Look how we've changed the sound. Look how the enemies react to sound and light. Look how Sam Fisher reacts to certain things, and just a very small thing. I just want to see a good work in progress.
Yeah, exactly. Just to know it's going in the right direction.
Yeah. I want to also see more of the Dead Space, to be fair.
Oh yeah, 100%. They've been doing these little like dev diary bits every now and again. And the work that they're doing on that game is phenomenal. And I just hope it stays that way because so far it's looking like it's going to be unbelievable.
They've changed a lot, but in terms of small little minor things like weapon sounds and lighting and how just the general sound of echoing down corridors. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it.
100%.
Actually, I'll change my answer. I'll say I need to see what Kojima's working on.
Oh, okay. Well, which, to be fair, he's got several projects under wraps. Do you want to see Kojima's Xbox project? Do you want to see Kojima's Sony project? Or do you want to see Kojima's multi-plat project?
Anything from Kojima. As much as I don't go much on Death Stranding, I still like his previous work, and he does.
There's one thing that you can't fault Kojima
He
for.
doesn't really something I don't go much on, but I just want to see anything from Kojima because he's got one of them very complex minds, and the games he puts together and releases have me questioning what the game's going to be about. Death Stranding had me questioning so many things, like what is this game even about? And then when it came out, I was like a bit disappointed, but yeah, anything Kojima.
I was going to say the one thing you can't fault Kojima for specifically is that he's one of probably the very few AAA developers now that still aren't afraid to take risks and do something wildly different.
I was about to say that. I'm not a big Kojima fan, but you can't knock him for having an idea and sticking with it.
Yeah, that's what I like about Kojima is that he'll come up with this crazy concept in his mind and he'll go, I'm going to try and execute that and see if I can pull it off.
Yeah.
I tried that with Death Stranding. Personally, didn't work for me, but I know I love like a load of people that love that game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see what he does because he pushes the industry forward, that man. So,
yeah. Before we go on to Mick for his ideas and wants and needs from the show, So Shady says, I want more of the Avatar game. Arc 2, of course, with Vin Diesel. Star Wars game running on the Snowdrop engine. Yeah, from the makers of The Division. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Some great choices there. And to be honest, I would imagine we see more of Avatar. We probably see more of Arc 2. I don't know whether or not that'll be with Xbox though, because obviously they've got the Game Pass thing for that.
I think it is an exclusive.
I think
for
it is
Xbox.
exclusive as well. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And Star Wars, I think everybody wants to see. And to be fair, we were all disappointed on May the 4th because we expected to see something and nothing appeared. Other than the
I fully expected to see Fallen Order 2 trailer, but we didn't get it.
Nope. So there's a lot to show off there. There's so many Star Wars projects in the works that I think a lot of people are excited for. So we're bound to get one of them. Whatever one we see.
2 weeks ago, I made a video about all the upcoming Star Wars games.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there are so many AAA games in the works. That's insane.
I've just had a thought about Fallen Order. What if there's a little tie-in in the Obi-Wan series? And that's why they haven't shown the game yet.
I don't know what the time frame is for.
I love that.
The Obi-Wan.
Honestly,
Well, they've got the Obi-Wan holocron, haven't they, in the first game?
Yes.
Of him talking about is it the holocron or is it the message from the Jedi Academy?
I mean, the timing is perfect. So the times lines overlap. And I would love that. I would love to see more interconnection from the Star Wars stuff that is going on, the games, the books, the movies, and the series, of course. And yeah.
And as I mentioned last week as well, actually, in terms of the legitimacy that Star Wars themselves have for Jedi Fallen Order's lore as well now, is the fact that they've brought in Cal Kestis's lightsaber into Disney as well now. So they've actually kind of officially brought that out as something you can purchase. So the legitimacy of that game now is probably beyond what most other games have ever had. So I think it's a possibility.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did a Cal Kestis TV show.
Yeah.
With the actor.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It'd probably be really good as well, to be fair. Really good. The game was tremendous story-wise. Really great. But yes, Mick.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a Obi-Wan scene in Jedi Fallen Order, so I really wouldn't be surprised if that's when they announce it after Obi-Wan's maybe first episode airs or whatever.
Yeah. You never know. Mick, the Keeley Show. What do you want to see? What don't you want to see? What do you need to see?
I don't want to see as many adverts.
Yep.
I have a massive problem with adverts. Once I've zoned out, I've lost interest. I think I got maybe 40 minutes into the last show. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, no, that's it. And
So
I
you
just
don't want to see G Fuel.
You're gonna see it.
You don't want to see G Fuel.
What if they release a Sea of Thieves inspired flavor?
They probably already have. They probably already have. But even then, I'm just like, no. I don't need any of that. I'd be happy with none. But like Boxy said before, I know he's got a job to do. I know that this stuff isn't free, and he's got to pay for it somehow. So I can see why it's like it is.
Yeah.
And just like we've said before, it needs toning down. It's too much about the adverts and not enough about the games.
Yeah.
And you can't call it a games, game awards when the emphasis is not on games.
Yeah.
It's fuel for gamers, though.
It's not even on the awards either, because half the time you don't even see the people getting their awards.
Yeah.
You just get a list afterwards saying, all these people got all these awards and we've moved on. You're like, that was the one I was interested in.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that. Yeah. So yeah, that's something I definitely don't want to see. I would like to see, and whoever it was in the super chat before mentioned, one of the ones someone you said before, what was it? I forgot who it was now. But the Star Wars game by Massive Interactive. I would like to see something. I'm really interested. I do like Division. It's one of the better games I think Ubisoft has brought out over the last several years, and yeah, I think that's got the potential to be really good. I say potential.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that. Let's just fingers crossed they start to pull things together. If Yves Guillemot is determined to stay independent, then he needs to do something a bit more adventurous with their games.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just sell it and let somebody else have a go at it, because it's not working anymore.
Biggest thing they need to change is stop chasing trends.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yeah.
Because they're always like 3 years behind.
Yeah. Yeah. By the time the trend is happening, they're putting the game out 3 years later, and the trend has moved on.
Yeah. They've started development when they go, oh, this is picking up. This is a good idea. Let's try this.
Yeah. So, or they shoehorn it in at the last minute and it totally breaks it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I would definitely like to see, and it's not going to happen. I need to see some Fable. If they're going to show it, they might need to show it at the Xbox show, but I just don't think we're going to get it there either. But I really want to see some Fable. I'd just like to see something.
Yeah,
just a little update, just to see what's happening and
see what they're working on.
Just a
glimpse.
Oh, even just a coming fall 23. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
something like that.
Just a little glimpse to get you excited.
I'd even. I mean, at this, I don't like having too many cinematic trailers, but at this point, I would even take a second cinematic trailer. I'm just like something. Oh, but I'd rather see some gameplay. Or some in-game footage, definitely, and a sort of release window. But
what would be? I think it'd be good.
We're more likely to get that at the Xbox show, I think. Than
I was going to say, it would be good to see from Fable. I think specifically from Playground Games is if we see one of the characters from the game, and the reason I say that is one of the main concerns from people that have played Playground Games is, of course, they're very car-driven studio. They've focused primarily on an open world sim arcade racing, and they've done an unbelievable job, the highest rated racing game in the world. But the the characters, the people that they've had on screens on those games have been left a little bit more to be desired. So I think allaying that fear and showing off how well they're designing the characters and how they look, etc. I think that would be a good focal point for even a CGI trailer. Like, look at the characters we're designing.
Yeah.
But yes.
I would take anything. I would take anything from Fable right now.
Yeah.
I'm desperate to see something else.
If it's not like an Xbox title at the show, because I mean, it probably won't. If they're going to show that, I think that's going to be headline
more
showcase. Yeah. What would you need to see in terms of like a third party announcement?
Third party. Do you know? I've been quite excited. It's not going to happen now because we've just got it, but I've been looking forward to this Gotham Knights to see more about that.
Yeah.
Being one of the, I've always liked all the Batman games, and this one's co-op.
Yeah.
So that got me really interested. And then obviously the other day we got that trailer, and then some more info on that. So that's out of the window. But that's looking good. I don't know, third party really. It's really, for me, it's just that Star Wars game. Any Star Wars game, actually. To be honest, any update on any of the Star Wars games. Fallen Order 2, Mandalorian, yeah, any of these ones that we either know about or have been rumored, I'd be happy to take any of them, as a teaser trailer. Sweet. I'd even take something from Sony. I'd even take an update on the Wolverine game.
Yeah,
anything
that'd
be good. Yeah. My expectations for the Game Awards show after the last couple though are quite low. I think it's Jen that said they did that Twitch streamer type thing where they would
it's like
just
Twitch culture integrated to it, and
I'm not even going to turn it on. If they're doing that again, I'm not even turning it on.
It's not what the average gamer is tuning in for.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So hard pass if it's that, I'm afraid. So my expectations are quite low, but I do think we'll get a few. We'll get a handful of games that'll get announced.
Yeah.
Whether they're something I'm interested in remains to be seen.
Yeah.
We're going to need a lot of caffeine to get through that show.
Oh yes.
Yeah, well, it's going to be one of them that I mean, you say it's what time is it on?
6
o'clock. Midweek as well.
6 p.m.
I'm just going to be sitting there with a jar of coffee powder eating it.
I have to say right now I'll be passing on that one because I'll be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning. So
you're like, no.
Yeah, it's not
But yeah, it's for me specifically what I need from the show is to some basic things in terms of its format. Ditch the Twitch streamers and things that they get on that haven't got a clue about the industry or the games they're talking about. Bring in actual industry personalities, and by industry personalities I mean developers. If you're going to get some people on, ex-developers, people that have worked within the industry, know the industry, that are able to have a coherent conversation about what they're seeing on screen. That makes sense. And pronounce the right games and talk about the right games when they're shown. And have played them would be a preference as well. That'd be good. Advertisements, tone them down dramatically. We're not saying bin them because we know you need to focus. You do need to fund the show in some way, shape, or form. But it was sponsored primarily by Prime Gaming, Amazon Prime Gaming last year, so that's a big undertaking anyway. And I would suspect it's going to be the same this year. So tone down the advertising. I think he's got to realise the show that he's showing isn't just in America. Specifically, the European and international crowd aren't used to the bombardments of ads that you would get on prime time American TV, which I think Jeff Keighley's kind of integrated into his show. Tone those ads down big time. Realise it's an international audience you've got here. They don't like being interrupted every 2 minutes by another advertisement, or this show's brought to you by Gatorade, or G Fuel, or whatever it is. Ditch that. Don't need it. Like, have it across the bar, put it on underneath there, just at the bottom, presented by Gatorade. I don't care. Just stop mentioning it all the time. Other than that, again, I think he's got a big onus on himself to showcase a lot of the other, like we've mentioned, EA and Ubisoft, who EA specifically aren't having a show themselves. They did mention to just drop stuff when it's ready. I think Jeff Keighley will be able to get in there and say, right, okay, well, you're not doing a show, so what ones are ready for you to show that I can take off your hands and unveil at our show? So I think he's going to get a lot of the EA stuff. And I think Ubisoft's going to show off quite a bit at his show as well, as mentioned there. We might see a couple more games, I think, from the likes of Devolver. They've got a lot of indie games as well that they're working on. Of course, he's going to show off a lot of indie games. Probably going to see a Square game or two from himself as well, because he has a good relationship with Square. And he has, of course, last time, even when Balan Wonderland had its issues, which we know of now, he was the first to show that off as well. So I do suspect that will be the case. And as Jen mentioned, there is always a possibility with the relationship that he has with Kojima that we could see one of Kojima's projects there as well. But I think all in all, depending on what Sony do and what their plans are for their own state of play this year, we could see some announcements from them as well. If not, maybe some updated gameplay for God of War. I think is a potential, unless they've got their own state of play planned. But yeah, he's got, for me, it's more just refocus back on the games, calm down on the advertisement. And if you're going to get people involved in the show, then have people on that know what they're talking about and aren't just the person of the moment streamers, where you get them on because they're popular. because the next year on they might not be as popular anymore, and they're no longer kind of as relevant to the industry as a developer would be, who knows what he's talking about. And I think that would just make a bit more sense. But hey ho, we can fingers crossed. Like I say, we're going to be covering it. I hope it's semi decent. I hope it's going to be a good start to the showcase weekend, where we've got of course the big one on Sunday. But we'll save our Xbox final predictions for our other 2 shows that come that weekend. We'll try not to speak too much on it until then. But of course,
everyone's going to know what my prediction is.
We all know what your prediction is.
Oh, it's going to be wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Just say it. Just go on.
I'll save it.
Does it begin with O and end in T?
Maybe.
Oui, oui. Yeah, so relaying straight into another game that we have seen something of that quite a few people are interested in. Fantoso mentioned this as well when he jumped into the chat before. Gotham Knights. We have now seen the new gameplay footage for Gotham Knights. We've seen a little bit more of how it handles, how it looks, how it plays. I want to get the impressions of everybody here on their expectations for that game now. Are they more hyped? Are they less hyped? Thoughts, Boxy? I know you were very hyped for this game. What's your thoughts on what you've seen then on this gameplay footage? What are the pluses and the negatives? Are you more hyped? Or are you less hyped?
Well, I am hyped. I am. I like what I've seen. I've seen a lot of negativity around the footage, and honestly, I don't get it. I know the animations probably didn't look next gen. Let's call it that. But other than that, the game looks awesome. I mean, it's a Batman game or it's an Arkham game, but it tries something different. They have multiple characters that you can change in between. They have more RPG mechanics implemented, which I love to hear. It's, I thought immediately it's a typical thing. If a developer follows a certain formula, yeah, like we had the discussion about Ubisoft. The people are complaining, yeah. Would they have done the same like the Arkham games? Everyone would complain, it's just another Arkham game. It's always the same. Now they try something different and people are still complaining. Yeah, that's not Batman. That's not this and that. I thought it looked great. I like the setting around the death of Batman. I like the Court of Owls. I like the characters that they have chosen. I can't wait to play as Nightwing and Red Hood. It's gonna be awesome. You can and that made me really happy. You can play the game solo. I was honestly a little bit afraid that it might be developed first as a co-op game, but it's not the. Pardon me. That's not the case. They confirmed that again. It's entirely. You can play the game entirely solo. So yeah, Arkham City is one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely love the series, and this is gonna be a fun one. I can't wait. And I do have like 2.5 weeks to complete it before Starfield comes out. So good stuff here.
And what do you make of the fact that the news that they did mention with the trailer, that they've dropped last gen and it's next gen, well, current gen only?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I've also seen the discussions on social media. I follow the different opinions and views on this. The thing here really is, I doubt that this game has something that can't be realized on the old consoles. I really don't think that. But I think it's a good thing that they did it because we have to move on at some point.
Yeah.
We have seen it over the last 2 years that a lot of games come out really buggy. And here's why. The developers have to develop for the Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox One S. They have to develop for the PS4, the PS4 Pro. All these last-gen consoles. That takes out a lot of time to polish up the actual versions that you want to have polished, and this is the current gen. versions, and especially in gamers from the Xbox ecosystem do have the advantage that even if they can't get their hands right now on their next gen console of choice, they can play that game still via xCloud. We have that's always a possibility. Well, it's not coming to Game Pass, so yeah, I know, but you know what I mean. The thing is,
Yet, you never know.
yeah, we have seen the rumors that apparently soon we will get to play all our own games via xCloud. So there you go, problem solved. The thing is, listen, this fall we are 2 years into the generation, and I know that it's still hard to get and go out and just buy a console. I get that. I get that frustration. We still have to see that there are more Xbox Series consoles out there than after 2 years or 1.5 years of the Xbox One generation, even the Xbox 360 generation. It's the most successful console generation for Xbox so far.
Yeah.
There are more current gen console gamers only in the same time frame than ever before, and at some point we have to ditch that. We have to give the developers the resources and chances to polish up the current gen consoles, even if you don't see like a super duper mechanic or something graphically that wouldn't be possible on the last gen consoles. In the end, optimizing like 10 different versions of a game is just, it takes up a lot of resources, and so I think it's okay. Xbox is doing the same, by the way. All the announced Xbox first party games that are coming out are only current gen only. Halo was the last cross gen game for Xbox, at least what has been announced so far. We know the rumors about Forza, but Forza has been announced as a current gen only game. Redfall, Starfield, all current gen only games. So I think after 2 years into a cycle, it's time to move on, and I think this is the time. And I don't have an issue with Gotham Knights being current gen only.
I think you're right there as well, and we've got judging by the recent results by Sony as well. They're saying they've got 19 million shipped or sold units out there now. That would equate to, across the board, they're about 30 odd million current gen players. Now that is a sufficient enough amount in the market and out and about now to start ditching the last generation. There's a big enough sales base. No big first party game primarily is hitting that 20-30 million units sold across the board. It's very rare that they get to that point, and even Sony's big hitters, it's extremely rare that they achieve that. Absent from the financial reports from Sony was the GT7 figures or Horizon Forbidden West, with how they've sold, and that's surprising. But it kind of alludes to the fact that in terms of units sold, they probably weren't as successful as hoped. But I like I say, and I've said previously before, it's not the norm for units primarily first party to be shipping 20 odd million. That is when a game's done extremely well. So to have a pool of 30 odd million, 35 plus million players across current gen consoles, that's more than sufficient enough to start dropping the last gen off now.
And again, there's always that xCloud option. At least for the Xbox game. Actually, it's out there for everyone. Everyone can use xCloud. Even on the baddest of awful PCs, you can run xCloud. So there's really not that big excuse. Do you have the same experience? Of course not. Of course not. It's not the same experience, but it's just that's just how it is. If you have the box, or if you have a PC.
Speaking of that, actually, Boxy. Speaking of that, I've been, and I will give them hats off for this. I've been playing a lot of smaller titles, indie titles as well that are on xCloud. on the console using xCloud as well recently, and they've been absolutely flawless. So I think, I mean, for previous gen owners, I think it's a very viable option.
It is.
Yeah,
Absolutely, 100% with you. It is a definitely an option. I use xCloud actually a lot. And if you are in the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi band, xCloud is fantastic.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Sean, what do you make of the new Gotham Knights gameplay? What did you make of it? You more hyped for it? Are you looking forward to it now and maybe you weren't before, or is it the opposite way?
It's not something I was overly hyped for. I was just keeping a cautious look at it. I enjoyed the Batman games, but it was just more, I wasn't quite sure what they were going to do in the direction.
Yeah.
Like was mentioned before, the animation and the graphics don't look particularly impressive, although there is time to change that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the last sections are always where they kind of buff things out, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping. But I mean, it's got the classic Batman combat system. Being able to do it in co-op, I think, is a major plus. I think what was the third Batman game?
Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Was it Arkham Knight? I think by that time people were asking for co-op options because did they have mini co-op options in that? I can't remember.
If you don't count Origins.
No. They didn't have co-op.
So yeah, just been able to have that. I'm a little bit disappointed there's no Batman in it, although I think there might be. I think there might be a Batman in it because he's supposed to be dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe endgame character unlock.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is that maybe that it could lead into a Gotham Knights 2 with Batman in it, and you can have him unlocked for a second playthrough or for a Thingy Plus gameplay.
Is this a live service game or?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's a closed.
I think they actually
not.
said it's not. They've actually officially said no, it isn't.
No, it isn't. It's
I was
a
just
regular
wondering if maybe
campaign
they.
that can optionally, where you have the option to play as two-player co-op, and in its core, it's a single-player game. Start and finish. That's it.
Awesome. So yeah,
That's what we want.
are you more likely to pick this up now than you were before, or?
Not really. I think I was probably going to pick it up anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not. I'm definitely going to pick it up, or no, I'm not going to touch it now. I was going to pick it up. Now, when I'm going to pick it up, I don't know.
Yeah, remains to be
I'd have
seen.
to see what. Yeah, because I mean, what's the date on it?
October 25th.
October. So I'd have to see what's out
What
around.
drops around
It's not far off from flipping Starfield, is it? It's only 2 weeks away from Starfield, so maybe not. I might have to wait until later on in the year.
Yeah.
This makes me real. This time of the year, every year, makes me really annoyed that we can't gift pre-orders.
Yeah.
Because this is about the time I've got kids who've got birthdays coming up and some towards the end of the year as well. And they're usually saying, "Can you get me that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get it, yeah, but I can't send it to you until it actually releases. And I'd rather just buy it now and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
And then it just unlocks for them when it's ready,
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why we can't have pre-order gifting. And they've just announced we can now do subscription gifting
For YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, on YouTube. So why can't Xbox do subscription and pre-order gifting for Gamepass?
I think you
They
should.
might do in the future.
Hopefully, I mean the family plans
we've
were
been
meant to be
asking for
announced.
years. It's just never seems to happen. So
I'd love to be able to gift people because you can gift in chunks. I think for Game Pass, it is quite a faff on to try and do it, but you can do gifting of Game Pass subscriptions. But
you don't get it at your lower price because you're a member, though, do you? You have to pay the full price.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think gifting. One thing they do need to do is get rid of region-locked gifting.
Oh yeah.
Ditch it. Just take off the regional. It's a digital code, for crying out loud. Like, what you
Yeah.
play, just get rid of it. Like, it's digital. It's not a CD.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah, you
physical.
think
Not
that-
like having to
I
ship.
think the problem there is because of the difference in price. It does work out
Within charge.
different.
Yeah,
So
but
they'll-
even if
Yeah,
that's the case,
yeah. So
just-
what you were going to say then was just charge a bit more, which
Yeah.
makes sense. Just charge the extra bit to pay for. They just add it on like they do when you buy something. It's never $59.99, is it?
No,
And you go to the end thing, it says game value, and it'll say, I don't know,
49 quid.
£53. Yeah, £53.33, and then it adds the tax on, which then takes it up to the $59.99.
Yeah.
So just do that. If it is you're gifting it to someone abroad, it should just go, this person is in America, you're in the UK, their tax is slightly higher. You need to pay an extra £1.60 odd or whatever to make up that difference.
Yeah.
But it's gifting, you're not buying.
You're buying
As
it.
in, like, no, I mean, you're not. It's not like me going over to, changing my region to America and purchasing it so I get a cheaper thing there. You're just gifting a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what they're worried is people will gift themselves.
No,
things
but yeah,
and-
but if you can't
and get
buy
it
from
cheaper.
if you can't buy
Yeah.
from the other store, then I mean, you could say,
people
yeah,
can.
mate, let me PayPal you X
Yeah.
amount and you gift it to me. You could do that, but who's really going to be doing that? Is that going to make a massive difference?
Yeah.
People can do that. I don't know why you go through all those hoops just to do it, but it can be done. But it's you get caught, you're out. They can just ban you for it. So it's not worth the hassle. I agree with you. But people do or would do stuff. You know what people are like.
Yeah.
You can't trust people. They always
Well,
do
this is not
something
like that. You-
stupid and ruin it.
You can't even buy any. You can't even change regions on the PlayStation,
No, you
No.
can't.
which I think is obscene. Like if you were to move to another country for your work, you're locked into whichever your original region was.
Yeah, you've got to create a new account entirely if you want to use a region in that area.
Yeah.
I mean, let's
is
not get into
mental.
PlayStations and
No.
their account system. It's a whole rabbit hole we don't need to go down.
I know.
It's going to be a long podcast otherwise.
Jen, what about yourself, brother? Does this game do more for you now? Are you more likely to get into it and buy it, or what did you make of the game?
Oh, I'm likely going to get it anyway. I love the Arkham games. I'm a huge DC fan, so I'm likely going to get this day and date. So
yeah, you loved Sparkly
yeah,
Batman.
so, yep, I love Sparkly Batman. I hope they have a Sparkly Batman skin in this game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Animations, yeah, they seem a bit clunky, but like Shom said, there's time for them to smooth that up. So yeah, I'm gonna get it day one.
Yeah, and what did you make of? You mentioned the mechanics and things. I think a lot of the one key thing that stood out to people, I think, was the jumping mechanic for Red Hood or whatever it was called, the character. I think that was the one that people had issues with. I think the rest of it, I think people were all right with. I think it was that specific character had some issues that the one ironed out. But again, it comes out in October. They've got time. It's not gone gold yet. They're still working on it. Still in development. So there's plenty of time to iron that out. But so yeah, it's a game you're going to be getting. I know you're a big DC Marvel fan
I'm
anyway.
a
So
big superhero nerd, me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the story. One of my favorite DC animated movies is Batman vs. Robin, and that revolves around the Court of Owls, which is in this game. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with the Court of Owls.
yeah. Mick, what about yourself? Was this one that what did you make of it? What did you make of the gameplay you thought you seen?
Yeah, I was quite impressed. I will agree. Definitely, one of the first things I did notice was that jumping mechanic for the Red Hood. I thought that was weird. Didn't look right at all. Especially when you see Nightwing flying around with his glider.
Yeah.
You're like, that's cool. And then there's him just hopping through the sky, and you're like, oh,
Hop and a skip.
yeah,
It's like the senior animator did one and then the newbie did another.
yeah, it was really weird. But other than that, I was impressed. And it looks just like another Batman game. Which, if you like Batman games, bring it on. That's I've liked all the Batman games so far. So yeah, it's something that I was definitely looking at, but I'm getting now, definitely. And I'd like to, like I said, like to be able to pre-order it, which I will. But I'd also like to gift the pre-order because if you've seen the bike that comes with it as the pre-order bonus, that's a bit smart as well. So
yeah,
I do have a question for everyone.
yeah.
Go for it.
What character are you going to pick to play as first?
I can tell you right now, I'm picking that Red Hood just because if you played him in the DLC for, was it Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
I think it was Arkham Knight. It was amazing. It was so good. And I was like, this guy kicks ass. So I'm going with him straight away.
I'm
Just
undecided
hope they fix that, as long as they fix that hopping thing.
Yeah. Sean, what about you?
I'm not sure. I think how many characters are there? 4?
There's
6?
Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Red Hood. Unless they bring more DLC characters to it at a later date, but I'm not too sure if they're going to do that.
I'm not sure. Probably the one that plays similar to Batman. So probably Batgirl.
Yeah.
Boxy, what about you?
Boxy?
Nightwing, definitely.
Nightwing.
Definitely Nightwing. Well, although I think, if I understood it correctly, I'm not sure if you can choose completely freely. Like, you can choose when you roam through the main city, but when you enter the main missions, story missions, that's at least how I understood it. You get automatically assigned a certain character. So
you think it's kind of like the game goes through, like Batgirl's doing this thing, but then at late level, while Batgirl's doing that, Red Hood's doing this, and it kind of eventually comes together.
Yeah,
exactly.
Wouldn't surprise me if it starts you with, say, Batgirl, and then the story progresses, and then all of a sudden in jumps Robin, then you switch to Robin, then the story progresses a bit more, in jumps Nightwing, you change to that one, and maybe there's a lead up with all the characters, and then after that, once you've got them all, you can do what you want.
You could choose, yeah.
Okay. Me personally,
give me a chance to learn all of them.
I'm probably going to go for Nightwing. Just flying about the place.
Yeah, I'd probably say Nightwing as well. Either Nightwing or Robin, because they're both pretty much a similar character, and I like the both of them. So yeah, it's probably going to be Nightwing mainly.
Awesome stuff. For me, I wasn't that intrigued by the game, but seeing it has got me more intrigued. Likely to pick it up, probably not at launch, but probably afterwards. It depends on, again, what games I'm still playing at that point, or I'm in the middle of playing at that point. For instance, if Redfall comes out a little bit around that time instead of summer, might be playing that still. You never know. It depends on what's there, but I'll probably pick it. I'm more likely to pick it up now than I was, and I think with the inclusion of having co-op in that game, it's going to be more likely to have fun with friends playing that game as well and playing through the story with friends on that as well. And 4-player co-op's awesome. It means the more people that
isn't it 2-player co-op?
I think it's 4.
Yeah, it's 2-player.
Is it 2?
Only 2
No, I think it's
player?
2.
Yeah, it's 2-player. There was this rumor that it's apparently 4, but during the stream they confirmed again you can only play 2-player co-op.
Oh, it feels like such a missed opportunity with the 4 characters.
Yeah. Unless it just means that you're overpowered if it's 4 people.
Yeah. Especially if they drop the Xbox One, in the earlier systems, it almost feels like that might have been the reason why they dropped it, so they could up it to 4. But
yeah,
maybe not.
It might come round and after launch they might update it and say now
possibly,
it's
an update.
But yeah, I mean, co-op's still going to be fun to play through with. Let's face it. So games like that always are usually relatively fun to play it through. So I'm more excited about it than I was. To be honest, it wasn't even on my list before because I'm not the biggest superhero DC Marvel fan, so a lot of those games always just get by the wayside for me. But having played Guardians of the Galaxy and I loved that game, I'm more likely to give something like this a chance than I was previously. If the story's good, that is, and the the Court of Owls or whatever it's called. That sounds like an intriguing kind of premise that I know is kind of back in the lore of Batman. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, they're one of the most interesting villains, in my opinion, the Court of Owls, the group of villains.
Yeah, so, yeah, awesome stuff. And on to the negative news of the last week. We have to cover it because we do need to kind of stand it out. And of course, it's not going to go away, but it can be mitigated, it can be alleviated. And that is, of course, and I've noticed, and we have to mention it, but the network outage for Xbox Network, of course, over the previous weekend, for primarily a DRM lockout. So people were unable to play games that they owned, as well as games that they were playing on Gamepass, or anything in between. It was locked out saying, you don't own this game, please verify, and they couldn't get into it no matter what, even ones that they'd purchased. In some cases, even those that had discs, they weren't able to use those because of DRM lockout. I would say, as a disclaimer here, I didn't notice anybody of my European friends list have any issues at all. I was playing a variety of games, including on xCloud all weekend, including Trek to Yomi, including a little indie game called Unpacking. I was playing on Sea of Thieves, I was playing on Fortnite, I was playing on Halo, I was playing on an abundance of games, Red Dead Redemption 2. I had not one drop of problems myself. So I can't physically comment on how painful this DRM lockout was because it didn't happen to me. I don't think it happened to Mick or Jen or Sean.
No, I never got any of it.
The only thing the only thing I've experienced is sometimes the game loads, shuts down, and says you need to be online. Start it up again, and it works.
Yeah,
and it's done that a few times over that weekend. That was it.
The only one I
was reading all the outrage between rounds on Halo.
Yeah, I was going to say the only minor issue I had was Flight Sim, where it went to offline mode. And that was it. It went offline mode, just loaded the offline assets, and that was it. But then a refresh of it, paused the menu, opened it back up again, it was back to its online connection. So whatever effects I had was minimal. But it does beg the question, what can they do to mitigate this? Because let's face it, having an issue here where a DRM lockout during a network outage is causing people to not be able to play games that they own is an issue that does need resolved. Regardless of what the DRM things are on there, if they've purchased that content, and I know you need to check it, the DRM sign-in needs to be much further apart. Check it once every 30 days if you've owned the game. It does need to be something where it doesn't have to be all of the time, and in some cases it seems anyway for some content it's a DRM essential check-in pretty much every time you boot the game up, which seems a little bit excessive. John, what do you think they can potentially do to alleviate the issue that kind of occurred this weekend?
I think I heard it was Jez or Rand say this, and I completely agree, is when you buy a game digitally, then you should have that handshake between the servers should happen, whether you need to be online for that to happen first time, and then that's it.
Yeah.
If it's bought digitally, obviously you can't do that if it's a disc thing, because you could buy the disc, have the handshake, and then sell your disc, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can understand why you can't do it with disc games, but games you own digitally, you should have access to online, offline, or whatever. From the off-go. You shouldn't need this constant having to re-authenticate whether you own the game or not.
Yeah,
if you get a refund, then if there's a refund, then they should do an update to the game that removes that
license
handshake.
Yeah.
You
know what it is? I completely agree with that. For all digital purchase content, once you've downloaded and started playing that game, that handshake is there. You shouldn't need the handshake again. And like you mentioned, if for some reason you refund the game, I know they do. They just prevent you from accessing it ever again. It's easy for them enough to do that because there's been occasions where I've pre-ordered a game, and then cancel the pre-order, but on launch day my console will still install the game. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I cancelled this, so I'll boot it up, and it's like, no, you don't own this game. So it knows that I don't own it. So if they're quick enough to do it for when you've cancelled something or refunded something, there should be, as Shom said, and rightfully so, I think, an initial handshake saying, yep, that's yours. It's your game now. We've done the DRM check. It's now with you. Your license. Can't go anywhere else. Have fun playing it. Online, offline, whatever it is. I don't think you need to have a DRM consistently for it because it's a digital purchase.
Yeah, especially not on your home console.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even if they were just to limit it to the home console, if you're game sharing, if you're the game share partner or the other, then tough luck, I'm afraid. But
yeah, that's the risk of game sharing. Yeah, that's 100% the risk of game sharing. Is if something happens to, or someone doesn't pay their bills for Game Pass, and all of a sudden Game Pass goes off on your end. That, unfortunately, that's just the risk you're going to have to take. But
it's not even Game Pass because we're talking about
just
games
content in general.
Purchase,
yeah, exactly. But no, I completely agree. I think that is for digital owned content specifically, they do need to have that. And I think you know what it is. I think I heard. I've forgotten who it was that said it, but obviously someone in chat might be able to tell me here. But I'm sure somebody mentioned Game Pass's DRM check-in is once every 30 days, and I'm sure that's just on the date of your subscription payment. So I think Game Pass's actual DRM check-in's meant to be longer. So the fact that had DRM issues as well is a bit weird. And I think again it's the whole shake and sign-off process. Boxy, what do you think they can do to kind of mitigate this or elongate it?
Yeah, I mean, you already said the solution. Have a certain deadline where the game needs to log in and check, and that's it. And I don't see that you should check in at all on your home console. I mean, that's the entire concept of it. So I've seen a lot of people defending this, honestly. Like, yeah, the arguments are like, which device today works without internet? Your smartphone is useless without internet. I don't know. Yeah, everything needs the internet these days. Yeah, that's true, but the fact is that on other console systems, you don't need that check-in. Yeah, you can literally play your PlayStation games offline completely.
Yeah,
and it's just weird that it's not possible on Xbox, and I think that's definitely room for improvement. The other thing that came to my mind is if they would have gone through with the originally the original concept of the Xbox One, we wouldn't have that problem right now, right? So just saying. Here we are, a couple of 9 years later. People would definitely appreciate that original concept now. So yeah, the thing is, it's a like you said, the European people didn't seem to have that problem, but that doesn't mean that we won't get it in the future. We didn't have it in the past. We had also had Xbox Live outages, but so yeah, it's something where Xbox can improve, no doubt.
Yeah, 100%. Jen, do you think there's anything additional they could do to kind of mitigate it going forward?
Really, just what Shom and Boxenberger have iterated on. I'm not tech savvy, so I have no idea they could fix this. But yeah, I pretty much agree with what Shom and Boxenberger say. So yeah, that's pretty much where I stand on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. You know what it is? It's a major topic because it was a major issue, and it's something that they do need to iron out. But the problem you've got is that the resolution, you would think is relatively simple, and it's a case of, as Sean mentioned, and I think it pretty much encapsulates what everyone's thinking. Once you've purchased a bit of content digitally, and you've had that initial sign-off, and the license is loaded to your Xbox, which is essentially what it should do, is download like a digital license to your Xbox. It should just
once it's registered that purchase, it should, and then like obviously once you've loaded the game from that as well, it should also
I mean, what they do on essentially
point.
what they do on PC for DRM is the product key. So once you've got the product key in, that's it. It's done. It's registered now. That's your product. You've got the product key. It's signed in. It's sorted. DRM's not an issue. If you don't have the product key, it's not there. What they should be having on these Xbox games for DRM checks is, once you've downloaded that digital bit of content, then an additional file is underneath on the management side of things on your console. It's just a little file, whatever it is, that represents the digital key, etc., the license for that title, that it can reference when it boots up. Okay, yep, that's there. Brilliant.
Yeah, like a digital imprint. So it goes, oh, well, we've confirmed you own this game from this date.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's something they need to sort as soon as possible.
It does need to happen, because it's things like that shouldn't be happening in this day and age. You shouldn't be having an issue with games that you physically purchased. And by physically purchased, I mean on a digital manner. As Sean mentioned before, physical's a bit different, because you could very well have a physical game, install it, and then hand the game to someone else and try to boot it up.
Yeah. With physical, you definitely should have to
have the disc.
Have the disc inside the console at all times.
Yeah. And you can understand why the DRM checks there to make sure the disc is there, and it reads off the disc and it goes, yep, that's yours, great. But with digital, you don't have a disc, so the only way to do that is to have a file on board the system that it references. Goes, yep, the file's there, brilliant, you've got the game, terrific.
Even if it's synced to your cloud, as soon as you load the game, it goes, oh, we've grabbed that from the cloud, yep, you're good to go.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, short and sweet last topic. I would ask Mick the same thing, but I think Mick would have just agreed.
Pretty much. There's not much else you can say to any of that. It's been an ongoing thing since the 360 era. Yeah. With licenses and stuff, and a lot of it just comes down to the actual developers wanting you to not share it as much as you know, to anybody else, so they can get more money for selling more copies.
Yeah.
I think Xbox generally do quite a good job of letting us do what we need to do.
Yeah. Because
I think if devs had their way, we probably wouldn't be able to game share at all.
Yeah.
So, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think it's there's a bit of give and take on both sides, and I think we do all right, but unfortunately, if you do game share, it's obviously one of those things that you just have to accept. I game share with my son, and as soon as the internet goes down, I think, well, what am I watching tonight? You know, because I know I ain't gaming. So yeah, and Gamepass is another kettle of fish with licenses. Obviously, there's so many different things going on. Yeah, we just, unless there's a nice big update that makes it a lot easier, it's not. I don't think it will. They'll give it the same, unfortunately. Yeah. All we ask for is just more reliable. I mean, we do quite well, I think, on Xbox. We don't have many big issues, but just some more server reliability would be nice, and we don't have to worry about it then. So yeah, that's about it, really.
Awesome stuff. And that about wraps up this week's show. Of course, like I say, the coming weeks is going to get super busy. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, and no doubt on the run-up to both Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, there's going to be a lot more announcements. There's probably going to be a lot more studios that are hinting at things. There's going to be a lot more news and rumours that circulate and fly about, and things that we're going to be talking about and covering. And it's I'm just excited to be getting back into the conversations again. Let's face it, over the last few weeks and things, Topics have been hard to come by. let's face it, decent topics that aren't kind of the same stuff every week. So it's going to be awesome to be having some awesome stuff to discuss, to talk about, some new games to talk about, get excited again. It's great. It's great. It's a great time of year. It's good to get excited again.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for all this news.
I know.
I'll be drowning in news.
I know. I'm
Won't
already
be able to
like
come
I
up
say,
there.
even just planning out all the shows the other day and figuring out when we're going live and when we're covering things and post-show and pre-show discussions and things like that. I was like, I'm excited to start doing all this stuff again. Like, this is the type of stuff that I enjoy being a content creator for, and I'm sure Boxy's in the same field there. Being a content creator when it's this time of year is just phenomenal. So much fun.
Oh yeah. That the preparations alone are fun. Honestly, I know you are already working on stuff for that week. I do. I actually work right now on thumbnails. And, no, it's an exciting time. We had if we are honest, we had a dry streak of like 2 months now, where we had basically zero news in the
Scraps
video
to
game
speak about.
industry.
Yeah.
And that's all about to change, and it's exciting. You can feel the excitement in the community. You can feel the publishers, the developers are excited because it's time to show their games. It's time to see what we are going to play later this year, what we are going to play in 23 and beyond. And honestly, it's just awesome to see. I get like 10 DMs a day from different people asking me, come on this show, we have to talk about this and that, and you can just feel that excitement, and it's awesome, and I can't wait for it to share it with you guys. I can't wait to discuss everything with the community. It's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. On that note, if anybody is podcasting around that time and it doesn't clash with any of the shows that I'm showcasing, feel free to ask us to come on. If I can squeeze on and share that excitement with you all, I'll try my best to do so. But on that note, let's get our outros going here. First and foremost, Shombalon, brother, let people know where they can find you and what you're going to be up to this week. Hopefully, not as much work and a little bit more play.
You can find me on Twitter and Xbox under Shomlon. Unfortunately, I have 2 days off tomorrow, and then I'm doing another 7-day stint.
Oh, well, at least you've got 2 days off starting tomorrow.
And then 7, so yay. Go me.
Focus on the positives, Shom.
Enjoy those 2 days. While it lasts.
No, I understand that. To be fair, I live for the weekends as well to get to mainly so I can just relax and chill out and watch things and play games and not have to think about, I really should be going to bed now. I've got work tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about where I work is I listen to Audible. So I've been going through some of the Halo books.
Nice.
Which, interesting fact, it is now, well, it isn't, it's been quite a few years now, but I've only just found out that it is in Halo lore that there is a UNSC Glasgow kiss.
What?
So for those that don't know what a Glasgow kiss is, it's a headbutt.
Okay, that's awesome.
Can you do that to Quan, please?
Yeah. Well, Quan did get a headbutt in the previous episode, so that was quite enjoying to see. Never mind. But yes, awesome stuff. So of course, and much like Shom and myself, etc., you can find Shom on Xbox, and he plays Halo quite often, Fortnite, etc. So no doubt if he's online, drop him a game and he'll potentially play with you. Next, General C. I know you've been working on some new content as well, brother. Let people know where they can find you and what you're
working on some Hunt Showdown content. It's going slow at the moment because I've been busy tidying up the front garden and the back garden here, doing a lot of
summer
redecorating of those sort of things, replacing fence panels and all that stuff. It's that time, when fence panels get to that point where they're just clinging on to dear life. So that's what I've been doing. So yeah, I haven't had much time to game, but I am slowly working on some stuff, streaming as well. Should hopefully be streaming tomorrow, depending on how dead I am inside by the time I finish
Yeah.
with with everything. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, the _general_C, and that's on my Twitch channel as well, and YouTube, the General C.
Awesome stuff. And of course, you can find you this weekend on the weekend.
Yeah, this weekend as well.
Yes.
Yep. I always forget to mention that. I should always remember that. I'm like half asleep.
It's all right. It's all right. Next up, Boxy. You've released a new bit of content for some for channel members, but that's going to be releasing to everybody else shortly. So let people know where they can find you and your awesome new content.
Yeah, I'm very easy to find. I can be found everywhere on the Boxenberger. So just look it up on YouTube. You will find directly the channel if you haven't checked it out. Yeah, like you said, I just uploaded a video for the channel members going live tomorrow at around 6 p.m. German time. That's like noon Eastern, I think, and 7 p.m. UK time.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Actually, it took me a long time to research all of that for that video, because we are discussing in that video how long every Xbox first-party game has been in development. So that's an interesting one. I hope people will enjoy that. And yeah, other than that, I have a weekly podcast. I have a lot more content coming over the next weeks. And yeah, like we said, it's going to be the main gaming news season, and there will be a ton of content on the channel. So yeah,
awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, too right. I can't wait for it. I can't wait to be busy, and that's a strange thing to say. I can't wait to have so much content that I don't know what to do. So it's going to be a nice.
See what you say. We'll see what you say when we get there.
Oh God, I know. Well, news is news, good or bad. But last but not least,
after those 2 weeks, we will be drained.
Oh God, yeah.
And we all need a break.
Yeah, we'll have a week off.
Yeah.
Yeah, last but not least, of course, Xbox Mick, another one of our co-hosts for a different reason on the Sea of Tuesdays. Where can I find you, brother, and what you've got coming up?
Yeah, Sea of Tuesdays. Yeah, that's every week with yourself and usually Jen and my mate Chris. And
I've been enjoying it. I'm loving it every Tuesday.
It's good to hear. It's we're having a lot of fun. It's not as easy as getting getting two ships in the server as people think, as we found out this week.
Yep.
Spent a lot of time trying, just gave up in the end, didn't we? So
yeah,
that was a shame. We had quite a few people lined up as well, and we sailed together, but on different servers. So we're still good. We still had a good laugh. And apart from that, I am on Xbox Mick 29 on everything really. Xbox, add me, and try and sail together if you want at any point. And same with Twitter and also on YouTube.
Awesome stuff. And of course, you can find me everywhere at WandrinDutch. Xbox is a little bit abbreviated, WandrinDutch, thanks to the character limits that they introduced this generation, or last generation for some reason. So thanks for that, Xbox. But other than that, yes, of course, you'll have seen, if you haven't already, in the community post there, I have the full schedule up for the showcase season so far. As I mentioned, could change if there's new shows announced and there's new stuff to cover, etc. Try and cover as much of it as physically possible without completely draining myself out and draining all of our other panel members out as well. Because, of course, a lot of these people will be covering a lot of this stuff with us as well. So it depends on timescales and what's covered and how we're covering it. So it's going to be a varying panel member base on each one. It's going to be awesome. Of course, we're going to cover as much as we can. If there's anything that does get announced and we try to cover it, if you want to see a post-show where we have discussions with other people, let us know. But other than that, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Awesome to see some new faces again in here in the chat tonight. Some new subscribers as well, so thank you for that. Awesome again for the members as well for 3 months. for both of you there. Thanks for that again, Phantos, and of course, I think it was who was it? There's another one. Can't remember now. Paul, AFC. 3-month anniversaries for both of those, so thanks for that. Until next week, of course, well, at least until the weekend edition. See you all again later. Have an awesome night. Enjoy the gaming. Remember, love what you play and play what you love. See you later. Good night.
See you later, everyone.